All right, welcome on in, everybody, to tonight's episode of Battlestar Galactichat. I think it's episode 8. I think that's what we're up to.
That seems about right.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I lost track.
Yeah, we're it's basically like a bunch of people having a
Whatever the crap, we're getting there.
we're getting there. But anyways, every Thursday we do this panel and we bring you the Battlestar Galactica news, the latest Battlestar Galactica news, which obviously is going to lead into the new show. Mark Lursis, how you doing, buddy? Mar.
Hey, Mark.
So basically, we have had not much news at all lately. Oh, gee! Yay, she's working. She's at work right now, but she's cheating off to
nice.
Watching us. Hey, Brian, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Brian, there can be only one, man.
So we've had like 3 weeks, something like that, of no news. But I actually found a piece of Battlestar Galactica news, believe it or not, finally. So I'm going to bring that article up now, and we're going to kind of give our thoughts on it. So bear with me, guys. I'm going to share this real quick. Now, this comes from comicbook.com, which, take it for what you will. I'm not a real fan of comicbook.com, but it is what it is. Anyhow, Battlestar Galactica's Ronald D. Moore comments on new series announcement. So basically, they go through the whole thing here. Sam Esmail will create a new Battlestar Galactica series. It'll be on the Peacock streaming service. We know all that. And it is a new story within the mythology of the sci-fi series from the early 2000s. Which obviously, if you guys watched the 2003, 2004 BSG, that was Ronald D. Moore, of Star Trek fame. Everybody knows Ronald D. Moore, specifically from TNG and then Deep Space Nine as his biggest claim to fame. But he did BSG, and that show was absolutely the best thing going on television when it was on. It was an awesome show because it was more more sci-fi drama than just a campy over the top like old sci-fi show like a lot of them used to be, and it was done really well. It's actually a very pioneering show in a lot of respects. But back to this, they got Ronald Moore's comments on it. And according to Ron Moore, he said, "It's really up to them, and I wish them well. I'm glad that they're not literally rebooting the show. It would be hard to see someone else playing Laura Roslin and Adama at this point in time," which we all agree. It's a great concept, and certainly it was great for me when I got the chance to step in and redo it 20 years after the fact. I'm happy to see someone keep expanding on the universe that we created. Sam Esmail has extraordinary talent, and I wish him well. So basically, the article goes on to, reiterate what I just said. His BSG followed in his footsteps of writing for Next Gen and Deep Space Nine, and Moore carried that style with him into his BSG. And it's now the standard of 21st century sci-fi television. And it goes on to say, we asked him what it's like to see others following in the model he helped establish. Another quote from Ron Moore, "That's very kind. I kind of feel like, if anything, I'm a link in the chain," Moore says. "We all kind of pass on our legacies to the next generation. Gene Roddenberry was building on people that came before him, just like George Lucas did. Those of us who came after Gene and George kind of built on those legacies, and you like to see that people then pick up things that you've done and then put it out there in the world. anytime you see that somebody's using some of the techniques or some of the storytelling or some of the styles of television that you did, and you realize, oh, maybe I had a piece of that, you're very proud and you feel like, wow, the legacy that I leave behind is not just that particular show. It actually lives and breathes and continues to influence people, and then those people influence other people. It's just great to be a part of the chain of history. And the article, it's something that all of us writers do. The last part of the article asked the question, how do you feel about the new Battlestar Galactica series headed to Peacock? Let us know in the comments. And, if you guys have read anything about it in the comments, we do the same thing. We always end our articles asking the readers what their opinion is. So that's basically the story there. Ron Moore giving his thoughts. I thought there was, it's kind of one of those things where he was very complimentary. I expected that. I also expected, considering he gave his blessing ahead of time, that it's no big mystery that he approved. So basically, your guys' thoughts on it. We'll start with Rosetta.
Well, I think it's good that we're actually getting some news on that. It's not just that they're going to reboot, and do the exact same story over again. That they are trying to come up with something new and different. Now, how well they do that, of course, we don't know until they actually get to that point.
Yeah, we don't have any.
It at least looks positive for the right direction, and a good hope.
So you're in the cautiously optimistic camp.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Brian, your thoughts on the article?
I don't know. It's exciting that we finally got some sort of news and that he is essentially giving it his blessing. Yeah, wow. I never I knew Ronald Moore was the name always popped out to me when I was watching the show, but I didn't know he did Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
makes sense, though.
He was huge in TNG, and he was the guy on Deep Space Nine. So, script doctor.
I mean, yeah.
No, keep going, Brian. Whatever you have to say, I can wait.
Yeah,
It's okay.
go ahead. Finish your thought, Brian.
Well, I kind of lost my thought as I was sitting there thinking about it. But basically, I mean, it's nice that we've actually got the information. It's nice that he gave him the nod and everything. And it's just really cool that he accepts his place in the lore too. He knows that it's not his, but it's really awesome that, like Rosetta said, it's not going to be another reboot. I'd love to see something with his Husker days, but
yeah,
how do you do that?
The thing is he established well, in a way, in a good way, it's his. The Larson stuff a lot different, obviously, than the Ron Moore stuff, but the universe that the world building that Ron Moore did was really good, and I like the fact that they're sticking in the same universe. And it's like you said, Brian, that he gave his blessing because it pretty much gives them the leadway to kind of go whichever direction they want within that world. And there's plenty of places to explore yet, but that the 2003, 2004 show didn't really get into. So it's good. Script doctor, go ahead. What's your take on the article?
Well, it's nice that he is basically giving his blessing only on the pitch of the idea, because he hasn't seen the details of the show. I don't think he has. I don't even think he's officially associated with this as a producer yet, or if he will be. So that's one thing we have to keep in mind is all sci-fi writers, especially genre writers that are seeing another generation pick up where they sort of left off. We all want to be kind of encouraging of that next generation. We want them to do the best story. We want them to have a good contribution to whatever mythos that came before. So that's something you have to keep in mind. So Ron Moore is just being the nice mentor type of guy who, even though he's far from being retired of anything, But he's just like saying, I hope Sam Esmail does a really good job. I liked his pitch. I thought it was great. It doesn't conflict with what I'm doing. It adds, it expands to the mythos, which is wonderful. And I wish him well. And that's good news to have. Like, it means that he's got a new idea that's within the confines of the 2004 series. So the question you have to figure out is it adjacent to the colony that's on Earth, or is it a prequel, or is it just another Battlestar that we had never heard of that miraculously did survive and we're just following them? Like, we don't know at this point. But he's being encouraging, and I loved how he associates himself as just a link in the chain. That's a beautiful way to keep yourself humble, but also remind people of the writers that came before and the possibility of the writers to come after.
Yeah. You know, I think that's a really good thing, especially the fact that he was gracious and open-minded to it, and again, it only bodes well for the show because it's going to give them the leadway to go in whichever different direction that they choose to go within the universe. And that's exciting because it's like what Brian said, maybe they could do something with the Husker days. Maybe they could do something, you know, there's any number of infinite possibilities of places that they could cover. And I like that. And the fact that we have no concrete details yet, which probably in the way that the business works, and Script Doctor said this before, guys, you know, in Hollywood, especially like this time of year, there's not too many details, especially with TV, on the new shows yet coming for 2020. I mean, they're very sparse. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to get more stuff down the pipe after the first of the year. Would you pretty much concur with that assessment there, SC?
Yeah, I think right after the new year, we're going to start hearing a lot more details of what's going on, starting with casting news and maybe character names.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I know.
Awesome.
I'm excited for the casting. I really can't wait to see the casting. So
we still know like absolutely nothing about the show, right?
Yeah,
I don't think they've moved much on it. Yeah.
There hasn't been really a peep, which is actually a good thing, you know. And I'll say it from this standpoint. When I know a lot of people love leaks and everything like that. The fact that there are no leaks so far or anything along those lines isn't a bad thing. So.
Not entirely, but the last thing we want, or at least the last thing that NBC wants, is for the show to come out of nowhere, like no anticipation, no build up for it. So they will be leaking stuff deliberately. I would
like
say
Treadstone.
Yeah, like sadly, like USA isn't really promoting Treadstone at all, which is weird.
Yeah,
it just came out of nowhere. Like y'all were my first exposure to it. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, honestly, if they can save their money on advertising, because we ignore it for the most part anyway nowadays. But yeah. I mean, if they save the money on advertising and invest it into like the actual functioning of the show, the script writers, day workers, shit like that, hell yeah, go for it. I'd rather have a better product.
You know, also something that comes to mind, you guys, as far as a show that sort of mirrors this. You know, it seems like ABC did a similar thing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because it doesn't seem like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really got a whole lot of run, you know, as far as super big. I mean, they got a decent build, but there wasn't really a whole lot to it.
Well, I remember those first two seasons were pretty heavily promoted because they tied into the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But season 3, and I guess they're doing up to season 7. Like the last season is premiering in the new year. Like it's been kind of ghost town on the talk of it.
Exactly. It's like they made it their bastard child. This is weird.
And Kevin Feige has announced that Marvel Television is going to be absorbed into Marvel Studios, and all the old stuff is going to be considered not connected to the original MCU.
Right.
So that means no Agent Carter, no Agents of Shield. All those stories are technically not part of this new amalgam.
See, that bothers me. That bothers me a lot.
It doesn't bother me. It disappoints me, but it doesn't bother me. It's just
Yeah, I just like Agent Carter wasn't over the top great, but it was pretty neat. And hi Senate, good to see you, buddy.
hello, Senate.
You know, I just feel like yeah, man, I would have been really happy if they would have let that stuff stay. You know, Agent Carter was kind of, I don't know, I feel like Agent Carter was kind of a big deal.
First season was great.
Yeah, Ambassador, we just covered, oh man, you just missed it, Ambassador. We just covered a new article about BSG, and it was basically Ron Moore gave his blessing to Sam Esmail about the new show, and we were just talking about the fact that, you know, they can go in any direction within the Ron Moore universe that they want, and that's a very good thing for Battlestar Galactica fans, because I know a lot of the fan base wanted things to stay in this universe. I mean, there is a number of TOS Galactica fans that did kind of want something similar to Richard Hatch's idea back when he was going to come out with sort of a Battlestar Galactica thing, and this had been before the Ron Moore series had come into existence. But in the long run, most of the BSG fan base, because a lot of it grew after the 2003 show came out, a lot of the BSG fan base is really over the moon happy about them sticking in this sort of universe with the world building that Ron Moore did, and they can just sort of build on top of it, you know, within that. So I'm excited. I'm very much excited about it. It has a lot of potential. I hope that they don't screw it up, but given the fact of the quality overall that Mr. Robot is, I'm thinking that it's going to be done pretty well, and Sam Esmail is going to do justice to the source material and the product. Yeah, I'm with you, Ambassador. I agree wholeheartedly. So moving on, guys. It was funny. I don't know if any of you guys saw this on Twitter, and we're basically going to pop culture news this week, guys. So I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter today, but there was a tweet that I found, touching on The Witcher, and dude, it was Henry Cavill reading part of the Witcher books. And I mean, you know, by the way, I'm a straight dude, but Henry Cavill was looking like friggin' on point, man. I was like, damn, wish I looked that good. But yeah, Henry Cavill was legit reading some excerpts out of the Witcher books, man. And I was like just blown away by that, because it was like, damn, Audible.com needs to get this dude for real, and just like have him just do the entire Witcher series, you know, on audio. How epic would that be? You know, from the stuff I'm starting to see about The Witcher, back when we had discussed it in bounding into comics, we've done a number of stories about the Witcher and how it's coming together. We were very critical because of the fact that they have, they have stated that there's, at least back at that time, that there was going to be some wokeness and diversity to it, and we were like, oh. But that being said, the stuff I've seen lately about The Witcher, I'm inclined to give it a chance. It looks pretty good. Maybe Cavill will carry that show, and it'll be a success. Yeah, so I will be big enough to be open-minded about it. I don't know what you guys in the chat and what the panel thinks of The Witcher, but your thoughts. By the way, too, also check out Twitter and see if you guys can find that tweet because it's amazing.
I honestly don't have much I don't even have any exposure to the Witcher universe actually. Never played any of the games, haven't read any of the books, but it seems interesting. But yeah, I have heard about the wokeness, how Geralt's gonna be a big chunk of the story, but apparently the two female characters are going to be carrying a lot more of it than you expect. But that's most I've heard so far.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And there are a lot of things that have to do with like the setting with it being in medieval times. I know that there was a big flap about the whole setting and the fact that there was no representation of people of color. It's like in the region
where it's at.
Yeah, where it's at, and the time of history where it was at, there were just no people of color there. So it's like, hello. There's no inherent racism or anything here. There's no lack of diversity. There was just legitimately not people of color back then in that region. If there
it's more like a Eastern Europe region, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we're near Spain. The closest exposure you might have is a Moor coming up out of Arabia or Africa.
Facts have nothing to do with their wokeness. History has nothing to do with wokeness. Actually, erasing history has to do with wokeness. They're more interested in destroying things than actually building them up.
Well, that's the thing, Rosetta. I was really that's part of the reason I was really critical about it, because this is The Witcher's based on a historical legend, and loosely, but it's based on a historical legend, and the way that the original author wrote the books, was very clear. He wanted to do, he wanted to do justice to that, and to have it sort of PC-fied is like just not too good. But that, again, to be fair, from the trailer and the stuff that I've seen so far, I'm willing to give it somewhat of a chance. So, Script Doctor, what do you think?
Well, like Brian, I haven't followed anything of The Witcher in its games or books at all. However, Henry Cavill, over the last, I guess, year or so, has done a nice about face, very similar to Aaron Eckhart years ago, where he's far more humble and far more approachable. And on top of that, I mean, I dig the guy as an actor. I think he's better in supporting work as opposed to a leading man. Even though he's got the looks and the posture of a leading man, he does more. He shines more as like a supporting character. I don't
second that, Script Doctor,
because
he's good in a group.
Yeah, he knows how to play off an ensemble, and when he's getting it back, he can really nail the chemistry. Man from Uncle, he had a little bit too much screen time in my opinion, but like him and Army Hammer, well, he managed to outact Army Hammer, which is kind of easy to do because Army Hammer's not really an actor. He's just a rich kid who wants to act.
I thought he was just a model.
No, I think his dad is the guy who made the baking soda for refrigerators or something. Arm and Hammer.
Oh, really? Oh.
I don't think that's a joke. I think that's legit because I never hear about him when I go down to LA to work. Like he's never brought up whenever because he does fit the demographic of a lot of like type of character archetypes for scripts and stories. And whenever I'm in rooms with writers and they're all pitching like who's the actor they'd get to play their leading role, his name never comes up. So it's always all these other names and sometimes obscure ones I've never heard of before, but it's never like Armie Hammer or the guy who was like nominated for an Oscar.
I was gonna say, wasn't that guy just like eye candy or something? I mean, because I think that guy has like zero acting chops.
He kind of came up out of nowhere with the Lone Ranger, and
he really did.
Know, it feels like he's going to have to do at least a solid 5 years of.
Well, he was in the Social Network.
Much Ado About Nothing and stories like that. Oh, he was in the Social Network.
Yeah, he was the twins in the Social Network, and even then, even with like that, even with that role, twins. He couldn't act like two different people.
See, that's kind of the point. Like I have, like he's like Army's all right, but like you forget about him.
Yeah,
he has
no presence.
He hasn't had a defining role yet.
He's like male Brie Larson.
That could be. That's one way to put it. However, I've seen Brie Larson actually outshine in a couple of roles that Armie Hammer
exactly.
But I totally understand the reference they're getting at with like Captain Marvel. Yeah, because Armie Hammer, like I saw the Lone Ranger. He tried a lot, but he just did not have it. And I guess it also didn't help that Johnny Depp wanted to be a little bit more on the crazy side with his role.
Yeah, you can't have. I actually like the movie. That's the worst thing.
Oh no,
I
it's
still
fun.
forget that that's him.
Yeah,
it's a fun little romp.
Yep.
But him paired up with Johnny Depp was just too damn much, and like a lot got made out of Johnny Depp with that role, and I think with the stuff he did to get the acknowledgement, because he went to one of the tribes and he's now a full-fledged member. It's not honorary anymore. But I think once every 2 years he'll come back to Oklahoma and he'll actually get in on the powwows and everything like that. Yeah, he's part.
Yeah,
and I think that's why he came back to Oklahoma.
Can you imagine
when he did all of his research?
Can you imagine if they would have taken Armie Hammer and like if they would have recast the role of Iceman and made him like a new Iceman in friggin' like the Top Gun universe?
Oh Lord,
that would have been awful.
People would be missing Val Kilmer from that, like right off the bat.
Exactly.
I was gonna say they actually Val Kilmer has a tiny role in that.
Yeah,
in the new movie.
He does.
Yeah, because he just
like it'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, have you heard his voice?
No, I haven't heard his voice since his recovery, or since before his recovery, actually.
Yeah,
it's really fucking sad because I always liked Val.
Yeah, I love him too.
Thought he was a good actor.
Dude was a great actor. Yeah,
and like to hear his voice now, it's like, well, getting to middle age myself, it's like, oh Lord, you never fucking know like anymore.
Listen, man. Yeah, basically, we had we had that, and then the other big news of the day is we got a new Star Wars trailer, guys. And
there's a final trailer like a month ago.
No, it's a new one. Like
apparently
they're
final.
It's like when you're editing, it's the final, like Drew just said.
But here's the thing about that. So I don't know how many of you have seen the new the Star Wars trailer today. I know Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, he retweeted it, and or he tweet replied to it. I checked it out. Because I agree with what Jeremy said. He said it was a good trailer, and this trailer, if you watch it, it's outstanding. It is. It's a really outstanding trailer.
But I don't want to see an outstanding trailer, especially after they've now put a seizure warning on the movie.
But the thing is,
for crying out loud.
But the thing is about the trailer is the thing.
Keep playing with your pussy on camera, we're gonna get a strike.
Yeah.
Shut up, Brian.
God, I can't with you guys sometimes. It's funny, but the thing is with this trailer, it's done really well, and it's cut together really well. If I didn't know the nonsensical leaks and everything else, I would be excited to see this movie. The problem is,
and if you hadn't seen the other trailers,
I saw the other trailers and I know the leaks, and I know that Star Wars has officially jumped the shark. Because in the business, they call it when something hits the nonsensical level and has just gone off the rails. In Hollywood, movies and television, they call it jumping the shark. And obviously you guys are familiar with that term. So,
from the Fonz, yeah.
Yeah, so
no.
Star Wars has completely jumped the shark at this point. And we know from the leaks that have been confirmed, backwards, forwards, left, right, they're confirmed. Okay, we know that. It's so nonsensical at this point. I can't get excited.
Has there been a recent leak?
Oh God, dude, there was a ton of leaks, Brian, like the past few days.
Oh, for Christ.
The most damning thing, I think, was the soundtrack leak that confirmed pretty much the first series leaks that came out, and then just yesterday there was one that there was a big series of leaks that followed up the first series from the same source, and he basically had somebody that saw an early cut of the movie and confirmed everything. So
oh wow.
Yeah,
but
so
yeah, I figured with all the reshoots and everything they did, I thought they were actually doing something. I mean, I heard I kind of wrote off at least 75% of what I read in the leak earlier this year, just because it's like, well, they've reshot so much. How do I even know anymore? But then I heard 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago that they're not going to use the George Lucas edit for some reason. Yeah. It's like y'all just like fucking with that man at this point.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have him write treatments, not use them. Then you're gonna have him come in and do a edit, which like if you're wanting George Lucas, he loves the edit. He doesn't like the directing, doesn't like the writing, but he loves the editing room. Mm-hmm. And like it's kind of like what the hell? I think they're just trying to create. It's kind of like the J.J. Abrams thing, where he likes to he'll put out as much false information as he does real information. Yeah, so it's hard to know what you're actually looking at anymore.
This is stuff that's confirmed in triplicate, essentially. So we basically know the movie beginning to end, and it is so nonsensical that it's not. I mean, at this point, it's like it's hard to wrap your head around it. And basically they sort of ruined the concept of the Force in some ways. They've obviously bringing Palpatine back has essentially invalidated Anakin's arc. I mean, we could go down the list. There's a myriad of problems But the biggest thing is that Senate put it the best way in the chat. The Rise of Skywalker is a comedy, and I really feel
It is the Rose of Soywalker.
Yeah, I mean it's so there was no fixing the damage that TLJ did. I mean, let's be real about that. There is just no damage or no fixing that type of damage. And I think try as they might, they couldn't fix it at all. And at this point, they pretty much just nuked the franchise from orbit. So that's where we are with Star Wars, unfortunately. But the trailer that I saw over Twitter today was damn good. So I'll give that much credit to it. Your thoughts, Doctor?
I didn't really think the trailer was all that interesting. I mean, it was nice to hear Ian McDermott's Palpatine pontificate, but I just didn't care. I don't know why Kylo Ren was seeking him out. It was just pointless. Like just all the other teasers and then the so-called trailer that they released in October. It meant nothing. It's basically saying we've confirmed that this is going to be the story we have because we have run out of time. So here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I just I feel like they gave up at some point because it was just like now I think they just admitted that The Last Jedi killed the franchise, and they couldn't do anything to fix it. So it is what it is, guys. So just putting it in a blunt way, Star Wars is dead.
Yep.
No, the Disney trilogy is dead. Star Wars is alive and well. It's fine.
I don't know how it could come back from it.
Maybe it doesn't have to come back. We have 6 episodes that complete a story. It's fine.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's kind of the thing with the whole Skywalker legacy, I guess, was kind of killed after all the flack George Lucas was getting from 1, 2, and 3. He just decided he was out. Like he didn't see a reason to go ahead and do 7, 8, 9. And that's kind of the thing that kind of chaps my ass about all this was for so long everybody talked about, I want to, there's 4, 5, and 6, right? That's just 4, 5, and 6. There's still 1, 2, 3, and 7, 8, and 9. Like it was a possibility, and now just I don't know. I feel like the one person in the room that's actually like, I'm not gonna say I'm excited about it. Like I'm gonna go watch it and I'll enjoy it, but like it's just a very toxic group that you can get into where you have just people that are being mean for the sake of being mean. I mean, if there's people that have a point or anything like that, yeah, it makes sense. But there's a lot of it where it's just, beating a dead horse at a certain point. Like if you don't care about it, then, move on. But like, I've been doing like a hardcore recap of The Simpsons. And like I think it came up as season 15, episode 15. The whole Star Wars hate came up during the 1, 2, and 3 era. So it was it was funny to see that already referenced before. It's like, oh, okay, I wasn't just making shit up in my head.
There's also an amount of on both sides. People just need to relax on each other. We're gonna have our opinions. And if we harp on it to the point where that's all we ever talk about, there's a problem. But to the people that they don't like that we don't like it, so they threaten us, they attack us medically and stuff, they come to a stream where I'm dealing with medical stuff and they're clipping stuff to mock us for medical conditions.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
there's something unhinged here.
There's definitely some
there's a divide that really needs to be addressed.
It's toxic on both sides. That's the thing. I mean, it's almost as bad as politics at this point, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's already chosen their position, and they've dug their trenches, and they're going to stick there. So, I mean, if you don't care for it, don't care for it. But you know, don't mess it up for everybody else. Is basically
Well, see,
what I'm
and
trying to
even
get at. Is I mean
as
that there's a good chance where you're going to have writers where they don't even want to complete stories anymore.
there was
And I got a
there was
feeling in
even
the
an
next
issue
10
with this
years.
that goes to an issue that was going with the tweeting and stuff, where there was somebody trying to egg on a bunch of my friends that are fandom and anti-Disney wars and stuff, that we should just tweet out and ruin all the spoilers on the day the movie came out. And all my friends are going, no, that's a dick move to do. Yes, we don't like it, but why would you do that to somebody?
Yeah. I agree with you on that, Rosetta. I saw that, and I was just like,
All these people
Oh, yeah.
that on our side, on my side of that, the hate the Disney stuff. We're all going, no, don't do that. That's dick to do. Just let people enjoy their movie. I'm good with that part.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. Let them enjoy the movie.
Let them
If
enjoy
they
it.
start being, jerks about it and, causing fights with people that have an opinion, well, then you can stand your ground and defend yourself, but don't try and ruin it for someone that just wants to enjoy Star Wars and, sit back and have a ride. Like,
yeah. I mean, I know.
Yeah, there's
No, go ahead, Brian. Sorry, I don't want to step on you.
no, my bad. There's some stuff that really kind of like it kills me about it. Like how there's like, God, if this kind of stuff keeps up, we won't have the ability to actually get to see extended portions of stories anymore. Narrow view, awesome. Like just imagine they got like season 2 of Battlestar Galactica.
yeah.
You know,
I'm
or
gonna dip
season
season for
6
something I have to
of.
handle.
Okay.
All right.
Rosetta,
Do you
take
have any,
care.
I've
Rosetta?
got some
Or
serious stuff I have to do
just like
tonight. So,
Thank you, girl.
good you wash day, everybody. I love y'all.
Yeah. Everybody, give
Thank
it
you,
up for Rosetta. Make sure
I
you
don't.
check out her channel.
I don't understand the need for all the hate, really. Like we're all fans of something, and we all have something that we even ashamed of. I've got one show I watch where I don't even really talk about it just because of how much flack I get, and the fact that it's a reality show. And it's like it's the only one I watch. It's not like I just kind of spoil my brain the whole time here, but I always feel like I'm in a weird situation because like I read a lot of the EU books, and I've been reading a couple more of them here lately through the library, but it's I don't know. I feel like one of the few EU people that like, yeah, it sucks that we didn't have those stories, but we have other stories that also further the storyline and give you a bit more material to go with when you're just kind of sitting there and you're bored, and you can oh well, I'm gonna read this time, or I'm gonna watch this movie. It's kind of like parallel universes and stuff like that. I mean yeah, it sucks that all the people that got invested in the EU storylines and thought that okay, that's where it's going, this is what I've got. But I mean, that's life. I mean, that's something that happens in life almost constantly.
Well, I'm gonna.
But yeah, what?
Well, while she's still in the
Go ahead.
chat, I'm gonna shameless plug OG Star Wars, because you know what, OG Star Wars is an amazing lady. She's got a great channel. So if you haven't been to OG Star Wars channel, man, please check it out, guys, because she has some of the best EU stuff that there could be. She really does. She has like some of the best EU stuff that there could be. She covers the books. She covers some comics. She covers like anything and everything with the EU, man. She's awesome. And the same thing with people like OG Mara Jade, people like that. They have a good knowledge of the EU. And we're actually going to, at some point, I've reached out. I've talked to OG Star Wars. I've touched base with Mara Jade. We're trying to nail down a time, but we're going to put together a little like Old Republic EU stream where we get into talking about some of the best things about the Old Republic era, things that have to do with KOTOR, KOTOR 2, SWOTOR, some of anything in the books that in the EU that covered the Old Republic. We're going to deep dive that, and we're trying to nail down a time at this point, but I will post that on Twitter when we have it finalized. And I'm looking forward to that. I cannot wait because I love the Old Republic era. I'm a huge Old Republic era guy.
Yeah, KOTOR was kind of my first expenditure into the EU. The games, anyway.
Yeah. Mark, if you could just link OG Star Wars channel in the chat, and also link Rosetta's. And back to onto the next subject, though. So we had interestingly enough, like some things on bounding into comics today. I'm trying to look it up, so bear with me a second here, guys. But there's been a lot of news that hit the site today, and I can't wait to as well get into our Treadstone stuff here shortly, because that's going to be fun. Oh my goodness. Also, if you have not smashed that like button, please do, and like our little show here, because we do this every Thursday. I'm looking forward to actually tinkering around with some ideas for the direction of the show in the future, because this is a really fun thing to do, and I love this panel, and everybody brings some good stuff to the table. So I appreciate your support. We're going to do one more episode of Battlestar Galactichat next week, guys, and then I think we're going to take a pause for Christmas, holidays, and I think probably come back the first week of January, that first Thursday, and we'll resume there. But it's going to give me some time to sort of sit down and sort out where the direction of the show is going to go as far as the stream and in the way that I have the panel set up. And I'm going to flirt with possibly changing the name of the show. It might be changed to the Pegasus Actual Podcast, but I am sort of kicking that idea around yet. Only because I love the Battlestar Pegasus. I'm partial to that. And back in the day, I did run the third biggest fan community in the BSG fandom when the 2000 series was on. It was called Pegasus Actual, shameless plug, and it was an awesome community. At its peak, I had about 18,000 members. So there you go.
I kind of dig that name, man.
Yeah, me too.
The Pegasus Actual Podcast. You guys are digging that?
Yeah, I dig it. I mean, it gives. I mean, we kind of got our start here with chatting Battlestar stuff, but we spent a lot of time, like, we hit all the sci-fi. So I mean, yeah, like that way it becomes kind of like a general nod to the fact that we're all kind of sci-fi aficionados.
And it keeps the BSG theme, which is good.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like that. It's a subtle nod.
So so yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think in chat? Do you like the name? Do you like the Pegasus Actual Podcast? We'll take a quick. We'll get some quick flash opinions here. What do you guys think of that? Do you like that? Everybody that's chilling in the chat, let me know what you think of that. Actually, if you like the Pegasus Actual Podcast, just let your thoughts flow in the chat. But yeah, getting back to some of the stuff on pounding into comics. We had an interesting story today from John Trent because he we talked about Agents of Shield earlier. the the actor John Hannah went on Twitter and he said, basically the whole Brexit cluster F is about one thing: immigration. He said he added, like it or not, we're a country of racists, and Brexit/EU skepticism is the cover. It's all about English nationalism. Shameful. so,
Oh,
so
dude, have you been reading any of the
he was just
articles lately?
Yeah, he was triggered though.
Well, the Tories got a majority government over
Like,
there.
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like the oh, I can't remember who it is. Is it the Tories? Everybody is hating on.
Yeah. Yeah, they hate the
Yeah.
Tories.
Yeah. That's it.
But it's definitely something interesting to see because it's. I kind of did a deep dive on that yesterday, where I was just kind of like, okay, what the hell is this? And the amount of like the Tories would be, I guess, more of a conservative mindset is what we call it over here. Which I
Yeah.
mean, I think is what they are. But Lord, the amount of racism these people are literally pushing out is like it's deep South Alabama 300-pound sheriff level racism here that we're getting into, and it gets deep, man.
Really?
The amount of oh yeah, it's like I know it's a little bit different over there the way they run it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's how'd Robin Williams put it the House of Commons is like it's essentially like what goes on over here, except it has a 3-drink minimum.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wow, just the amount of stuff and just open, just like out hate is like, whoa, that's insane.
Right.
You couldn't pull that off anymore in America and get away with it. Well, you can get away with it, but for how long?
That's the question. How long could you really get away with it? Yeah.
It's just oh, I don't know. Is it really though? Like I mean, is he necessarily correct, or is he a little out of line? Because there's that sort of thing over here in the U.S. where everybody's like, oh, that automatically go to the racist card if you even mention that you're a conservative. I mean,
Well, that's just from a habit of things. Unfortunately, like the early 2000s was not great for the conservative mindset, if I recall correctly, especially in Canada.
yeah.
Down here, the early 2000s were awesome for the conservative mindset. I don't know. We need to pick new monikers for all this stuff because it's not like you hear conservative and you're like, okay, is that fiscally conservative, morally conservative? What are we talking about here? And it's such a hodgepodge that it's kind of how you get in the situation America's in, where we only have two parties. It's like there's no fucking representation.
But the problem is though, is people tend to toss around the term racist way too lightly as well, because everybody uses it as a blanket generalization instead of, in the proper context. And I think that's the thing too, because everybody's mostly have their nose buried in social media.
Yeah.
There's no context anymore. So people, half the time you tell a joke, people take it out of context and immediately go to the, oh, you're a bigot, you're racist, you're this card. And they don't realize that the joke that you told was completely in a context that they absolutely 100% missed the mark.
Oh yeah, we're going through the butthurt decade again. It's like I said earlier, when rewatching The Simpsons, it's weird to watch PC culture come and go. because it only has about a 7-year lifespan when it does, and because everybody gets so fucking fed up with it, and they're like, well, you know what? Throw that out the damn window. I'm over that.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of, I want to say embarrassing, just how. I mean, I know there's levels, but god damn, I just don't get it honestly anymore.
Well,
No, I share that with you. I think it has to do with our education system. We just don't teach civics, so we don't understand the nuances of each political party or each political
yeah,
ideal.
yeah,
And as a
Yeah.
result, we end up trying to simplify it. So instead of conservative, which at least in Canada years ago, it used to be about conservation of resources, spending the dollar properly. Are we being efficient? Are we being? There wasn't so much on the moral differential because at least up until like the late '90s, there was a common moral ground across at least the Canadian Parliament system about like we kind of were on the same side for a lot of things. It was all about just how do we spend and how do we balance like what we want to do with taking the country into the next century and then further beyond. Like the whole concept of human rights and all that type of stuff had been the foundation had been resolved earlier, and now we're just kind of riding the wave of making things better as we build on top of that. But since the turn of the century in Canada has kind of gone backwards. Canada was just a multicultural country that didn't really have a solid culture, and now it's a multicultural country that has zero culture, and you can't really say what it is to be Canadian anymore. And in some cases, the concept of what it means to be American has gotten muddied too, because it used to have the American way used to be a way for all, be integrated, be free, build your own life the way you want it, the best you can, type of thing. But now that doesn't seem to be the case, at least to the world at large.
Oh no, trust me, you're right. It's, I mean, at least down here, down south, in the States, it seems like everything's more based around moral instead of philosophical. And I mean, those two can be connected in some ways, but I mean, it like it's crazy because you get conservative and you're thinking, okay, like to me, I always thought it was supposed to be fiscally conservative when I was younger. No,
Yeah.
not at all. That's kind of how it started out, and it's always flip-flopped back and forth between parties. But anymore, it's just political ideations and religion coming into play and stuff like that. So it's all horribly muddied, and I don't think we've honestly have we passed any resolutions or bills in the last couple of years.
In the last
Yeah.
decade, that's really helped like the majority of the people. No, nothing.
I mean,
A lot of little stuff that doesn't quite help. Oh,
Yeah.
bills.
yeah.
That's
Just
hard
the
to
last
really
2 years down here, man, we haven't really moved any.
move
There
the
hasn't been
dial at
anything
all.
that actually went through anything because it all gets held up, and the way the American system is set up, if you don't have the majority, nothing's going through. So if you don't have what I
Yeah,
call the super majority,
it's just 60 plus
where
votes. Yeah,
like
and it's only an ascendant. I think
a
there's a
lot
whole
of it's
yeah.
just getting held up in committee at this point.
You guys are actually bringing in a beautiful segue because the next thing I'm going to talk about has to deal with PC culture and everything else.
Well, that's actually a good point because I wanted to bring this up also with Brian here because a successful government, at least in my opinion, from my historical understandings, has always had that solid separation of church and state. Like there's an influence, but it's still kind of separate, right? And the conversely from that would be the PC culture, which is there's technically no church, no religion to it. It's just being, sensitive language is kind of like the religion that's replaced it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, down here, PC culture is still heavily connected to religion and churches. Like, there aren't very many non-religious people that are going around, bro, check your aggression, and you don't have a microaggression.
Yeah.
So, like, trust me, there aren't any like people that are non-religious at all.
It's
Like
on the left
atheists,
and on the right, both,
agnostics,
dude.
It's all around. Yeah.
like
Yeah,
it's all messed up anymore, and it's not something we're actually
But
we're not being able to address it.
SD, I was gonna ask you like super quick, why you guys discuss this. Did you take the lead? I gotta take a quick bio is what I was gonna say. Take the lead really quick.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's a lot of great
Yeah.
plays in question here because um, I understand a lot of personal perspectives when it comes to PC culture, which I mean, before it became really political to culture, it was about just not being a jerk and saying inappropriate
Yeah,
or very hurtful things to
it
people
used to be
because you
about
can.
not being a dick.
Yes,
And now it's at the point where the
you're
people
overly
who wanted
sensitive.
everybody to not be a dick are being the dicks.
They're being the
It's
dicks, and
like,
then they're
okay,
walking on egg. Yeah, everybody's walking on eggshells because they're afraid that action can be taken against them in recourse.
yeah,
And
that there's so much that's going on anymore. Like I've just noped the fuck out of almost everything. Like after the whole Me Too thing, like I wasn't out in circulation at the time. So like I didn't
yeah,
have the chance to adjust. And now that I'm out here, it's like, well, I'm not gonna make a move and get accused of something. So I'm just fine being by myself. It's gonna further, at least that in and of itself, Me Too is gonna further separate the sexes, and it's gonna cause more issues down the road than people are even thinking about yet. But
yeah, it's having the opposite
go
effect of
ahead.
what it's supposed to do.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it's really sad that, I mean, you have people on one side of the aisle down here that want to say holidays, and you have people on the other side that want to just say strictly Christmas. And like I kind of get both arguments, but for me, like with the early '90s PC culture, like don't be a dick. Like I'm like, well, we're not Christians. We're the only ones having their holidays at that time, so I always went with holidays. And now
I
I'm
always
the
went with
asshole
holidays
because I'm
too.
trying to include everybody,
Yeah,
and
I
not be a
usually went
dick
with
about it.
yeah, I usually went with holidays because for the last like several years, the Hanukkah uh, period overlaid with Christmas. So like, why
Yeah.
be exclusive? And so you do that. Now I remember when businesses would say happy holidays, and the reason they did that is they didn't want to disassociate from any person's faith. And
Yeah.
some customers took it really personally, like saying, well, why can't you just say Christmas? And they're just like saying, well, we market to everybody, not just Christians or people who celebrate Christmas. Like would you like it if I said only happy Hanukkah to you? He's like, no, because it's Christmas. I'm like, well, you understand why we
Yeah.
say holidays then. Some of them got
It's
it,
a
some of them
season.
didn't.
Well, to me, the biggest mind twister here is holidays comes from holy days.
Yes.
So pull your size 46 tidy whitey BVDs out of your ass. You know, get yourself unbunched. Like I haven't excluded anything. Like it's a holy day. It's a holy seasons. I'm
Yep.
just taking care of everybody all at once. Two birds, one stone. Like everybody uses that freaking analogy, and but now that it comes into a situation where it's Christianity that has to take a step back and let everybody have a little bit of space, it's like, whoa, they don't want that to happen at all.
Well, they're still kind of the new popular religion compared to many others. Like over 5,000 years, there's been Jewish people, and they've had their traditions and they have their
Yeah.
celebrations, and then Christianity didn't really take off until a few hundred years after we reset the calendar. And
Yeah.
even then, in the Dark Ages, is kind of where it grew its popularity. and then you had the Spanish Inquisition, and then you had all the other everything else that came after that. So it's still relatively young by comparison, and all
Oh
of a
yeah.
sudden they're trying to say they have this attitude that it came here first, and I'm like, no man, like you're just part of the group, have fun. Like
Oh yeah. Like I don't get butthurt because no one's telling me Happy Yule or
yeah,
Merry Yule. It's like I realized I went off and I chose a completely, like, it's not a small religion anymore. It's getting bigger, but it's still like I made my decision.
yeah,
So like I'm not gonna go out and harass people because I didn't get a Merry Yule. It's like,
yeah,
well, you realize how much of my actual religion is yours. And for Christianity, it's like
it overlaps a
that's what
lot.
the Yule log, the ham, the tree.
Hmm.
So much of that came from just old paganism, and it's like, Well,
Yep.
yeah,
Even the date.
you could.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, the Father, the Son, and the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Trinity is
Mhm.
actually a thing from paganism,
Yep.
and most
Yep.
people don't even know that. And it's like, what? It's like, yeah, the triqueta, the three-pointed knot. That's actually the old symbol for frickin' Pisces, the three fish,
Ambassador,
and it's all over churches.
Yeah.
Ambassador brought up a interesting point right here.
Yeah. Brian was doing the same thing.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, and says Lord. I've always said Merry Christmas to you, buddy. You know, so I mean that's just a standard I go to. It's all down. Religion is all down to interpretation, and then
And I always just repeat what I'm like said first because I grew up in different demographics. So if I
right.
heard Happy Holidays, you say
Yeah.
Happy Holidays. If you hear Happy Christmas, you say Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas or
I just
you
say
have
Merry Christmas, guys. That's it.
like you just say it. And like I got Happy Hanukkah one time. Like okay, Happy Hanukkah to you too. Like it's just being courteous and there's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with that.
I'm in the same place, SD, because with all my jobs that I had when I was younger, it was always like if they didn't give you a predetermined option, from what they said, then you just automatically fill it in with holidays so as not to offend anybody.
Yeah.
Hey,
But I mean, it like I kind of do the same thing, and I don't know if that's because I moved around a lot. That's kind of trippy to find somebody else that does the same thing, just kind of a react
hey,
to whatever's going on.
I give much props to my boy JJ out there in the chat though too. But it's good to see you, JJ. That's my guy right there, man. JJ's one of my good buddies, and I appreciate him, man. He's done a lot for me, and he's a big time supporter of mine. And he's behind me 100%, dude. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Same with all of y'all in the chat. Everybody's so great, and I can't thank you enough for just being a friend of this guy. So I love y'all. So Script Doctor had to step out, take a quick wee break, and we'll go on to my next story because I'm not going to toot my own horn here, guys. So don't take this as toot my own horn, but I am proud of this story. I did this story yesterday, and this was a big one. And I got to talk about it. I think I was on the stream with Stephen Walton and those guys, and I talked about it a little bit, but I didn't get to. I wanted to talk about it on tonight's stream because, yeah, this is a good one. So I'll go ahead and share it, screen share it here real quick, and
Okay.
while you guys take a look at this, I'll sort of fill it in. So. You guys know that I came from Twitch, and I regularly cover Twitch as part of my beat for Bounding in Comics. Besides covering pop culture, personally for Bounding, I cover gaming, I cover the streaming platforms, what's going on, the latest news around that type of community. And this story kind of hit me because this lady, Sweet Anita, I do follow her career. I was a subscriber to her channel. I used my Twitch Prime sub on her a number of times because she just has a really quality stream. Very, very bright girl, very charming. And the thing about Sweet Anita is she has Tourette syndrome. And as you can imagine, it was an interesting step for her to become an internet broadcaster. I mean, and that's a huge step. especially for someone afflicted with that condition, because there's a lot of people that have neurological conditions that wind up to be, shut-ins, or their self-esteem is horribly shattered because people ridicule them, or so on and so forth, or they just don't understand. Because Tourette's involves involuntary, it can be physical, it can be hand movements, it could be an eye twitch, which Anita has. Um, they or it can be in speech, which in Anita's case, she she often has Tourette's tics, where it's vulgar language, sexual vulgarities, things of that nature, and sometimes something controversial can slip out. Well, bottom line is, with this story is some knuckleheads came after her, and I got a feeling a few of them are just like jealous, because this girl, between Twitch and YouTube, has about 1 million followers, subs, and
Nice.
so Twitch followers and YouTube subs combined. She's got about 1 million people behind her that like her content. And I got a feeling some of the backlash that she's getting is from idiots that are jealous of her. But the other backlash that she's getting is like stupid, deranged SJW, like faux outrage, the stuff that they love to do to people. So you can imagine, all right, she had a couple of really controversial takes lately. One of them was where she said the N word, and she apologized for it. She said she had one recently where she said kill a certain ethnic group that the Germans may have targeted in World War II, which I won't repeat here, but you get the gist. All right, so basically what happened with this is people took to Twitter, and there was this one here. Let's see. There was a girl named Little Chipmunk that come out and said, "What the F, Twitch? How's this allowed? I don't care if she has Tourette's. She should have some way to mute herself. Promoting this hatred. Oh my God! Hello."
Wait, does she think that people with Tourette's syndrome, especially with the rarity version of it of saying foul language, have the chance to catch the tick before they can say it? Because that's not how it
Yeah.
works.
And there was another guy that this Little Chipmunk girl, like, because this was a quoted, a tweet quote. She quoted this other guy that says, "I know she has Tourette's, but holy F." And it's like, come on, man. The woman has an involuntary neurological condition. She can't not stop on a dime and say, like, okay, and just catch herself. It
Well,
doesn't.
I don't understand how they expect her to, I guess, play the game, interact with chat, and also be a sound engineer at the same time and edit herself before it has a chance to get out. Like
Like a 5-second live delay type of thing.
yeah, like I guess. Well, what you'd have to set it up for like a 30-second live delay. That way, oh, I made a mistake. That's 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Go in, get ready to press a button. That's at least 30 seconds of dicking around that you can't really do. And I mean, most people don't understand it unless they've actually live streamed. Like I have issues just thinking of crap to talk about. I feel awkward anymore because I'm getting to the point where people are trying to get me to talk more when I stream. I'm like, I'll try, but really, I'm just letting you see the game. So like, it's kind of ridiculous to expect that from her.
Yeah, and like I actually know this syndrome quite well because my youngest cousin was born with Tourette's, and one of my friends outside of college has Tourette's too. He has he like sucks the air randomly, like kind of like a fish out of water type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But because his is not as serious, he can suppress it. However, it does give him headaches if he does it for too long of a time. My cousin, on the other hand, he barks, and we got to go to I got to join in on some of the there's like programs and stuff to help mitigate the symptoms and whatnot as best you can, or at least be reflexive to it. And that's kind of where I found out that the ones that end up saying like the bad language or what have you, those are really rare because the syndrome does not target that part, like does not intentionally target you to say those words. It's just technically random words.
Yeah.
And if you do encounter someone that says those words more often than not, there's probably another condition with the Tourette's at the same time. It's because it's it's quite separate. Because I've met some kids that were in their teens, they'd never heard, those curse words. They don't say those curse words when they have their tics or they have their outbursts. They don't really say anything. It's just kind of like a random noise, or just one of them said butternut all the time. So it's completely different. However, there are those online that also do the fakings of it. I think there was a kid who had who was like pretending to be an interviewer, and he's like, I have Tourette's, and then he just starts saying these horrible, vile things, and it appears like it's random moments, but the timing of it is too perfect for it to be fit into what I've seen with Tourette's from my observation.
Yeah, a lot of people have the perceived Tourette's. Like Cartman.
Easy joke
I think South Park did an episode of it.
South Park did it
a long time ago.
Deuce, Amy Poehler with Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo did it.
I forgot about that character.
Oh, I remember that one because that was brought up in those program classes a lot, and how all those people were really offended by it.
Like it's such an interesting disease, and it sucks for the people that have it. But like, it only affects certain cores of your brain. So if the information isn't stored there, shit doesn't come out. It also just depends on which filter they have issues with.
Well,
and it's never just it on its own. There's always some other thing that is building off of. So like people who have like a synaptic misfire where an arm just flies out of for no reason, Tourette's just preys on that.
Yeah. Well, when you see like the specific thing with Anita, and I can tell you this from watching her before, guys. She has repeatedly done charity work. She's done streams for charity. She does streams that disadvantaged people. She does streams to raise awareness for people with neurological disorders. And I mean, she by all accounts, this woman's a very upbeat and giving person. She's not malicious. I haven't seen her be malicious in any way. I mean, I've seen that there's times that in her chat, I mean, and obviously she gets a ton of viewers, so her chat's going, like fast. But
hers is one of the hard ones to watch, if I remember correctly. And not that it's hard to watch; it's hard to keep track of with all the people.
Yeah. So she gets the idiots in her chat, because she's a very attractive woman. So she gets the idiots trying to, make
trigger her
comments and try to or try to like throw like stupid games and stuff like that. And I've seen her like say stuff and shut them down. But the thing is with her, she hasn't done anything malicious outside shut down trolls. And the thing is this is completely unfair because targeting a disabled woman for something she can't control. It's just, I'm sorry, that's just low.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't understand it, and that there's a lot of people that think they're faking, and no matter how many times you show them videos, previous times stuff has happened, previous episodes, I guess was the word I was going for, and they're like, oh, they're faking. It's like, seriously, you think someone's faking that? They're like, why would you put yourself in that kind of a situation, especially with someone like her where she has those kinds of numbers? Why would you knowingly drop, I guess, provocative, I guess would be the word?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I can see some doing it just for attention if they want to either get some media attention for it.
Yeah, the Alex Jones direction.
But that does not seem to be the case with this sweet Anita girl. She seems to be doing fine on her own without that.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I've never seen her actually make an attack with her tics.
Yeah.
Not only that, like there's probably hours upon hours of footage that show her doing a tick that has nothing to do with a foul language thing that
yeah.
she can reference to. It's like, oh, I accidentally said this word, which made no sense in my sentence because they had the tick.
Yeah, she has a lot of ticks like that too. She doesn't. It's not just foul language, like sexual vulgarity. It's just like random like word, jumbled nonsense words sometimes that come out, and it's just something that she
Yeah.
can't control. But I mean, I give her all the credit in the world. It's hard to just be a streamer normally, but to come out when you have that kind of condition and do it and actually be successful with it, I mean, it's great.
I think that's where some of this hate is actually coming from.
I mean, yeah, it is.
Just the amount of
It's
people that are
Brian.
there's so many people that are always just going to hate on people that are out there doing stuff and be like, well, instead of actually trying to be proactive and do something themselves and get out there and try stuff, they'd rather just sit and hate from the bleachers instead of actually trying to be a better person.
Yeah,
It's that, and I think it's also the fact that a lot of these kids pay attention to history and they saw that their parents or aunts and uncles were a part of some sort of movement that changed society. And now because there's not really a need for that here, they're trying to find anything they can to say, oh, look, I did something too. I had my step on, I made my mark on history to make the world a better place, when really you're just tearing someone down who is not harming anybody. Like cancel culture is the epitome of that. It's like, we got to get rid of these bad people, and you look at them objectively, it's like, they may be dicks, but they're not bad. They're not monsters. Like,
well, dude, I know cancel culture is just it's like it's just it's literally like a cancer.
It's one of those things I laughed about when I first heard it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And now anymore, it's like, oh my love of
it has no bounds, man. It comes for disabled people. I mean, they came for John Wayne. They came, oh my god, they could come for anything. It's crazy. But Ambassador makes another good point, man. Ambassador is killing it tonight in our chat. Man, Ambassador, thank you, dude. It is wonderful to have you in here. And you're going to at some point have to have you on because you're amazing. But he says, I have heard the story, and honestly, I think the Twitch community and YouTubers need to step up and support her. And, Ambassador, you are absolutely 100% correct. I think that she does need the support. And, and I think she's going to rise above the situation. I know that she tweeted today, I don't know how people can think I faked this for personal gain. My dad is black. He keeps ringing me, and I can't imagine picking up the phone in case I tick something racial at him. I dropped nearly 1,000 subscribers after that tick went viral, and now it won't due to the stress. And it's like, it's just despicable that that people are going after a disabled person like that. It's awful. I mean, in my story, there was even a guy, a person of color, a black gentleman who is also, he has Tourette's, and his direct inspiration for becoming a streamer was Sweet Anita. And he, apparently has had some interactions with her, and he went on the record, made a clip on Twitch and said, hey, look, this woman's a friend. I've never seen her be racial. She's never intentionally been racially insensitive toward anyone. And I don't want her labeled as a racist, because what she has done is raise awareness for our condition. And she's done nothing but be a great friend to me. And that spoke volumes. This is coming from a black gentleman who is also a Twitch streamer. And I mean, it's just, it's amazing. Those are type of stories that tell you really what a person's about. And by all accounts, like I said, Anita is a great person, and she deserves none of this. And I wish her nothing but the best. I'm hoping that the situation gets better, and that she doesn't, in the end, get bullied off the platform.
Well, it's going to be one of those things where Twitch has to start recognizing, because there's another Twitch streamer that I watch, the Disabled Tron. I think I brought it up when I was talking with y'all long
That's a
time
great
ago,
name.
but he has CP,
Mm-hmm.
and like his chat can get freaking toxic. But I found him through Reddit one day, and it was just one of those things that popped up, and dude was on there, and he's just having the time of his life, and all he wants is just to have some interaction with people because he's stuck in a freaking wheelchair. He can't actually talk, nor like with the ease that we have.
Right, exactly. Oh, and we can welcome Bear Nerd Fun into the chat.
Hello, Bear.
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome.
My buddy, my
Man,
big
that is
bro.
some wicked echo you got going on.
Which one of us?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think Brian.
Sinnott said I had it earlier.
Yeah.
I haven't heard one at all day.
Who's using
so
speaker?
I'm on a headset.
Headset?
I'm on a mic, and my actual speakers are super low. Like you guys are all whispers to me.
Yeah, that's probably you then. Basically, with StreamYards, basically, if you don't use a headset, doesn't matter how low or how high, the echo will always be.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
I'm like 7 feet away from my speakers.
I'm gonna do a reset myself just to make sure it's not me.
Okay.
I just have to turn off and unplug the dongle. I'll be right back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
when I first set my mic up, I had all kinds of glitches and stuff until I got everything set up properly. I bought a used gaming laptop, and I just had to get all the bugs and tweaks out of it and get everything set up right.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I got a
'Cause my-
desktop, and I got my speakers on my ceiling, just so that I can annoy my upstairs neighbors if they ever get too loud.
yeah, I don't hear the echo now. So apparently it was on Brian's end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not hearing echo
So-
either.
Well, he's good with sound. Yeah, he's good with sound, so he'll get it fixed.
But no. Welcome into our Battlestar Galactichat, Bear. We do this show every Thursday. We cover, like, at the beginning, anything that's like BSG news, and then we go into just some of the stuff in pop culture. You missed the part about Star Wars, man. You could have had a field day. We talked about.
I was hanging out. The echo's back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was hanging out in Drunk 3PO's chat and sharing some happy vibes over
Right on.
there. Me and Steven were over there.
Oh, cool. How is Steven doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, his book's doing well.
Books are being printed.
Nice. Very good. But the thing is we pretty much covered everything, and we did a nice little story roundup, some of the stuff that's popped on Bounding into Comics today, and we were just going to get into our review of episode 9 of Treadstone. I don't know if you've watched
No.
the Treadstone show, but dude, it's been amazing.
Well, I hear good things about it.
Yeah, so basically, as we get into our Treadstone review, guys, to give you a little backstory for those of you that are new here, we've been watching Treadstone from the first episode, and it's like an event series that's on USA Network, little short 10-episode thing. Essentially, it's a longer version of a miniseries. Like, back in the day, a miniseries would constitute like basically an hour and a half movie, right? And they'd show
Like
it
3 to 6 episodes, yeah.
right. But
I
now,
always think of North and South when it comes to a miniseries.
Yeah,
right.
North and South or V. Those
Mhm.
were the
Yeah.
two big ones.
So this is in that kind of vein where it's like a mini series. and it's gotten to 9 episodes so far. It expands on the Jason Bourne universe. Um, so this is more like a spin-off. It's an expansion. Like we were talking about world building earlier. This is essentially expanding the world. And so you're getting a lot of different stories, about different assets and about the Treadstone program itself, and so on and so forth. And it answers a lot of questions and raises a lot of new ones. And that's what good storytelling should do, and wonderful job of expanding that general universe. And we've been having a ball watching it, and it is a quality piece of television.
Oh
So
yeah.
I highly suggest that if anybody can get the opportunity to do so, please do watch it because you're going to be entertained. And if you enjoy action sequences, chases, really really well choreographed fight sequences, it's a show that you're going to have fun with. The only thing I will warn is if you're one of those people that watch a show and you like a linear narrative, this does tend to bounce around a little bit because there are some flashbacks that it uses in the story that you do have to pay attention when you watch. So
Yeah. It's not quite Tarantino level, but
yeah, but you do have to pay uh, keen attention when you watch, and you can watch it one of two ways. It comes on USA on Tuesdays, which I'm sure that they'll have an encore after the last episode next Tuesday. They'll probably have a marathon of it at some point or whatever. But you
I would
can,
not be surprised. Yeah.
yeah, but you can also go on the USA Network website, usanetwork.com. All you have to do is sign in with your credentials from your cable provider, be it Spectrum, whatever, and you can just watch all the episodes on demand, like right there, and catch up. So
What was that, Spectrum cable?
yeah, I got Spectrum.
Yeah, I don't think we have that out here in the West Coast.
Yeah, it doesn't
I'm
matter.
in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State.
Yeah, you can use whatever your provider is, Bear. It just asks for what your provider is, and you give them your,
yeah, you get the first 3 episodes for free on USA.com.
yeah.
Is it on Prime at all?
No, but I
No.
would not be surprised at some point if they distribute it on there. I would definitely not be surprised if they distribute it onto a streaming platform at some point. I bet money, Script Doctor, that'll hit Peacock. That'll be one of the things available on Peacock.
It might be, yeah, especially if they launch it with like season 2, but they'd have to really start putting some more advertising behind it, because right now it hasn't been officially renewed for a second season,
Mm-hmm.
so that's still up in the air. But it is, with all things considered, about a lot of the stuff that NBC and their subsidiary networks put out. This one is on the higher spectrum of quality, which is nice change.
It really is.
Yeah, it's got a lot of accessible dialogue. Some things are predictable, but they do throw a twist in here and there. They're not afraid to take some risks, which is why I've been kept watching, because I've enjoyed it. And they do a good balance. So sometimes they'll have one story between one set of characters that's a bit slow, a bit more of a respite, but then the other story that's playing alongside the episode, far more intense, focused, urgent. So you never really have a 100% filler episode or 100% over the top like a chase episode or intense episode. So
There's always
well balanced.
There's always a consistent character narrative at some point in the story in each episode that carries it along. So it's not falling into like a crap episode category. The character development is constantly moving on, and that's another thing that I like about it. It's just a well done storytelling. And the thing is you take something that's like just a snoozer. Like you take the example like Batwoman. You want something.
Sorry, did someone say Bat Ambien?
Yeah, that's like, actually I love that. That's great. Bat Ambient.
If you want to take something that's comparable, I mean, just to contrast the two, what a contrast! Because there's literally people falling asleep to Batwoman as opposed to watching Treadstone, and they're on the edge of their seat.
It's so bad. Like, against Script Doctor's advice, he's never said don't watch the show, but I tried when I was at my dad's house, and I think I made it 15 minutes, and I was like, son of a bitch, he's right.
The CW should market themselves as,
It's like the easy listening of TV.
It is. That's exactly. There you go, Brian.
It can compete with ASMR, I bet.
The CW really should make that a marketing strategy. If you're having trouble sleeping and you need some help, turn on the CW.
Oh, well, for me, it's been the Flash.
Jazz.
Yeah. For me, it's been the Flash that's knocked me out for the past 2 weeks, just because the girl I'm dating likes the show. And I figured out when I pass out. It's whenever Tom Cavanaugh speaks, because he's whispering. he's which is so weird for me, because I've seen him in other stuff, like when he was he played Ed the Judge, and he was in a really sweet movie where he was a hockey player, a retired hockey player, and he had to take care of a kid. And he was like a lively performance, but then he's on this show, The Flash, and he's whispering all the time as if he's afraid to like blow out the ears of the sound guy. And I just go out like a light. It's really bad.
All right,
and it's boring.
So before we go on to the review chat, if you don't mind spoilers, stay. If you're opposed to spoilers and you want to catch up and watch the show yourself, then I would suggest at this point probably like taking off, because normally after we do the Treadstone review, we usually give our final thoughts of the day and we wrap up. So you can always come back in and watch this, watch the replay of this episode here of our show and catch up on the review and compare notes after you've seen it, if you want to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, and if you do want to stay, some of these spoilers are just going to entice you to watch the show if you haven't seen it already anyways, because you're going to have to be like, well, how does that work? I got to see how that works.
Yeah. Man, this last week's been insane.
Yeah. So, all right. I gave you guys fair warning. I'm going to get into it. So here we go. So our episode opens, we see the recap. We see where Soo Young, the North Korean woman, was at that, was right at the gates of the embassy. It just said, I have urgent information for the CIA. And she goes in and whatnot. And so you start off with this whole recap of all the events from the last episode. And then it goes over to Tara, who is our reporter that, obviously she's caught up with the old retired KGB agent Petra at Petra's farmhouse. And he has finally come to, ask her assistance in finding out about Treadstone and also by proxy Stiletto 6. So they're sitting there in the kitchen bantering back and forth. Next thing you know, like Petra has a gun obviously behind her back, because what self-respecting KGB agent wouldn't, be packing. So Petra's packing, and she, points the gun at her, and she said, "Come on," and she's motioning her over, and essentially she takes her, down to the underground rocket facility where the Stiletto 6 is, because Stiletto 6 is basically under Petra's farm. It's just like it's built all over top of the rocket facility. So, so you got Stiletto 6 there, and she shows Tara that the nuclear payload obviously is gone, and explains all the story about that and the fact that the guy that she used to be involved with, Yuri. He's obviously as we've seen, Stiletto 6 is the common thread between all the story arcs. So we know from Sue Young's story that the nuclear warhead is in play. It's being sold to the North Koreans because Colonel Shin is buying it. So that is how Sue Young managed to be at the American embassy there in she was in Seoul, wasn't she?
Yeah, the China. She was on China and contacted the U.S. embassy through them, I think.
Okay. So basically, she's gone to. So Tara gets the whole background on everything, and then they cut to Sue Young after that. We see Sue Young on the phone with Treadstone people, after she's in the American embassy there, and they basically tell her, you kill Colonel Shin, we'll give you and your family asylum, but have you make sure that they're safe. And so she accepts the deal, and so she's going to be in play as an asset, for the CIA. So there you go. The rest of the story arcs in the episode, we pick up with Doug playing the role of Victor, the dead assassin that came after him, and his wife Samantha is getting ready to go back in because she was originally part of the Treadstone program. In her backstory, she was married to Doug, fell in love with him. I mean, it's obviously we know his name. Is not necessarily what they thought at the beginning, but she was married to him legitimately because she had fallen in love with him, and she had been there all this time, like as his live-in handler, and just watched over him, protected him. But she's going back in order to save his life because she doesn't want him to be killed, obviously, and he's under this cover as assassin that they don't know is dead. And they figure, that Doug is actually the one that's dead. So he's impersonating this assassin that came after him, that Treadstone had sent after him. So his assignment as the assassin is to go and take out a gentleman that he went to. Where was it that he went to, SD? Refresh my memory, because the guy was like a sort of there's this company trying to buy up all this land. Was it Colombia, wasn't it?
Maybe, or somewhere in South America, I think.
Yeah,
or Central America. There's a native native man, like they alluded to being like a chieftain or something.
All right.
And yeah, he's been like thwarting this private company from buying up their land, or at least trying to take it over, and he's assigned with taking that guy out so the company can get the land, and obviously he doesn't want to do it. So
yeah, obviously he's not a killer, so he's going there, and essentially we think that it's building to where he's going to warn the gentleman and all that this is happening. So we see him get his field kit and all and everything with the silence pistol and what have you. And, he's in contact with his wife, Samantha. They figured out a way, to have a secure contact. And she sends him a message saying they suspect me. They don't trust me, them being Treadstone, because they brought her back in. So that's where that's at with Doug. So then we move on to, the other stuff. We see some flashbacks from 78 with Petra and the American CIA agent John. We see John reunited with one of his CIA partners. They escape the underground facility, and you see a nice shootout scene. Some interesting fighting and gunplay, and then we see them speed off in a truck. But the other interesting things in this episode is you see the CIA. She's like I wouldn't say she's an assistant director, but she is like a bigwig, just like under the assistant director. And you see like her boss pull, that she's been working with the whole time. Hey, Ambassador, have a good night. And I'll make sure to give you a Twitter follow after this stream is over. The thing with that is she is basically showing the whole program, like the whole. He takes her into the nerd center of the whole Treadstone program, and then says, essentially lets her know he's blackmailing her. So either way, she's going to be like the point woman for this program, like it or not. So she just starts at that point, basically taking control of the room and figuring out the lay of the land and what assets are where. So that's what's going on with that part of the story. Then we finally cut back to Tara, and the last asset that they've activated, as they show transition from Michelle Forbes' character, because he said, we have an asset in that area, and then they activate, you hear the ringtone on Tara's phone, and it's the same little musical number that activates all the cicadas. And then you see Tara's head turn rapidly and acknowledges the fact that, yes, she's been activated. And then we cut to end of episode. So that was the big swerve. And let me tell you, I was absolutely shocked because we thought for the longest time that Tara's arc was going to end, especially after she found Petra and got the answers about Stiletto 6. We figured, okay, well, this is paid off now. It's just going to have Tara, head off into the sunset, essentially. And not so. So that threw me for a loop. And so with that, I will go and hand it to Script Doctor. What did you think?
I enjoyed most of the episode. I thought it was fairly fun. I really liked the reveal about what Petra was doing in the past with the U.S. agent whose name I keep forgetting, and then his partner Matheson was the partner.
Yeah,
and then they had the British guy and then the Spanish guy that they introduced, and I think the British guy was conditioned to stay because he thought Petra was in love with him, and you realize that all of them have been played the same game by the same woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I was not so surprised with Tara being an activated agent, just because I think a few episodes ago, or a few reviews ago, we suggested that probably being a possibility, maybe as a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And that was based off of her driving skills in the second episode, because they were really good for.
That is a good catch, dude. That is a hell of a catch. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either.
Well,
Yeah.
that's okay. Like you're not supposed to. You're the audience. You're supposed to be taken away by it. But so
Oh,
like that's
yes.
perfectly fine. The fact that you got that nice little clue, and then you got the surprise as the payoff, that makes you, when you go back to watch the series again, and you, with that knowledge, you see a lot more of the things that they sort of snuck in there for you to sort of lead you into that direction. So that's rewatchability. That's what you want to enjoy with a show. So I was waiting for that. I thought that was actually going to happen in the very last episode. Like it was going to be like a mid-act turn in the last episode where she gets activated, and that's where everything goes haywire. But they did it at the end of this one, so we're going to get a full episode of her activated. So that's going to be interesting to see, especially when you have like one of the founders of the Cicada Project on the opposite side of that table right then and there.
The interesting thing now is the one thing I left out of my synopsis was the fact that Matt Edwards contacted somebody,
In
and
Interpol, yeah.
I want to say, yeah, that it was pretty obviously Interpol, and wants to do an investigation to expose this whole thing, and that's and I'm wondering how that's going to turn out, and I'm surprised there was so little of Matt Edwards in this episode. But other than that, yeah, man, script doctor, I really like the episode.
Yeah, I bet Matt's gonna be another Cicada activated at like the last, like as a cliffhanger thing. Like he's gonna have all his stuff ready to go to say, oh, we can expose the CIA for doing this illegal act, along with any other government agency doing it. And as soon as he's about to like hand over the information, he gets activated, and then that's like how you end that miniseries, that season right then and there, trying to compel a season 2.
I would hate that, but
That's my speculation. I have no inside knowledge or factual evidence to base that, but I would not put it past them to end with such an interesting cliffhanger. Because he's the last character. Because almost every character that you see on the street outside of that office, of the Treadstone office, is somehow involved in the Cicada program. Either they're a handler or they're an agent.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here.
Brian, what did you think? What did you?
I can't lie. I'm honestly fairly excited. I think the look on what was it, Petra's face when the reporter got activated was almost priceless.
Yeah.
And like the only thing that I'm kind of like it. It's nice to know that the season finale is coming up. Like it's only 10 episodes, which is good and it's bad. But like I kind of, if we would have been able to go off on the more characters or different characters tangent for a season 2, if they do pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, I think what is it? Is it Doug? Doug was out on the drill.
Yeah.
But him and his wife, that's kind of where a lot of the interest for me is lying right now. Like seeing if there's going to be betrayal, where it'll come,
I don't
everything like that.
I know a lot of people said they thought Samantha was going to betray him, but I don't think she's going to betray him. I think she legit.
Well, I don't.
She loves.
I don't feel like it's going to be a willing betrayal. I think
she's
it's going to be something
activated.
like a 24 kind of a thing, where it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's possibility. I think she's also Cicada, but she's a different type.
Yeah.
She'll be activated to maintain her handler position as opposed to being like an actual assassin. I think she's a different breed.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
You could be onto something with that. The thing that I'm hoping, because I've grown to like Matt's character. I hope that Matt doesn't wind up being a Cicada. But God, SD, you had to tell me that, dude.
Oh,
Well, that's what these panels are for. We want to speculate to what could happen next. And
I was going to say, you guys both hit it on the head. I know I missed the last stream, but the stream before that, the Thanksgiving stream, and the stream before that, y'all both brought up the possibility of the reporter, like her storyline's pretty much over. So where are they going to go with it? And the Thanksgiving stream, I know both y'all brought it up that wouldn't it be be cool if she was activated. And I'm like, huh. And then when they activated her, I was like, well, okay, yeah. But I mean, with Script Doctor, we get something completely different because he writes TV for end users like us.
Mhm.
But it's also a rare instance where he's actually engaged with the show too. So it's good if someone that like actually works and produces a certain type of art is actually interested.
Yeah, well, SD knows good writing, and that's what I'm saying.
Well, at
Like,
least I hope I do. I have my own tastes as well.
yeah, I know, but I mean, you would have caught on really, like you would have disengaged really quickly if the show wasn't engaging. And that's the thing. This show was a very pleasant surprise because in the grand scheme and the usual stuff that's regurgitated out to us by the industry, it's just
Yeah.
a lot of the same thing over and over. It's just stuff that sucks. And man, this has been a breath of fresh air. It's done pretty much everything right. It's expanded a universe. It's told different stories. Where the Bourne universe now feels really fresh.
To me, it's sitting in a better situation than where the movies left it. I mean, to me, this is a true spin-off.
And
So
there's
like
stakes.
it's taking an idea in a world and giving you a different perspective of it. To me, the spin-offs I can't stand where they take one or two supposedly fan favorite characters like what's everybody riffing on right now across the world? Friends,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and like how they tried to make Joey a show,
Oh yeah.
but it didn't work. Like it technically it's a spin-off, but it's just like to me it's just like another chapter. Like it's not a true spin-off. It doesn't actually tell you any more about that world. It just tells you more about that character. So I mean, like that's why I kind of enjoy the whole fly under the radar thing they went with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this was done great. If anything, I feel like, man, I want more.
Oh yeah, I like that they went with the fly under the radar thing because it gives them the chance to actually do a season, even if it's only 10 episodes. But we actually get a season instead of like they pique our interest and then halfway through, oh, it's canceled. You get you don't even get a crappy ending. Like
Mark Lursis brings up an interesting theory. The wife playing a double blind game would be sweet.
Yes, that
Yeah.
would. Absolutely. Well, one thing I like about this show, and I haven't seen all of the Bourne movies, and some of them are kind of forgettable for me. But I don't recall a larger overall plot outside of the Jason Bourne, because my understanding, at least from my memory of it, is that the Jason Bourne movies are about this guy Jason Bourne who's kind of on the run all the time from the Treadstone stuff. I don't recall another story happening that he has to go save the world type of aspect, because
Hey,
here we have a
fellas,
save the world.
I gotta get going.
Oh, no problem, Bear. Thanks.
Yeah, I gotta go have a meeting.
Okay.
Oh, well, no, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, no
later,
problem.
Bear.
I'll check you later.
All right.
Have a good man.
Have a good one.
Take care. But yeah, man, the thing with this show that has been really good is just the fact that they've managed to keep the viewer engaged, and that is so important. And the fact that you can go back and the Bourne movies are now enhanced for you. If you watch the series of Bourne movies, even if you watch the Renner movie, this makes the Renner movie even better.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say the Renner movie wasn't Jason Bourne, was it?
No. The Renner movie was completely different because Renner's character was completely different.
After a while, it just started to be oversaturation, honestly. And now, like, you've got a new chance to go back into this universe and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like how each character has a slightly different take on the revelation of them being this cicada agent.
Oh yeah.
Like Su Young is basically saying, "Okay, I'm going to use these skills to save my family." Doug is just kind of like helpless. He's just
He
trying to
seems like
survive
he's
and
just
figure
in
it out.
denial.
Yeah.
Like, he seems like he's in complete denial about it. And like, I'm surprised none of us brought up the pills.
Yeah.
There was in the Renner movie. I remember they had like the different pills actually made a difference. So I'm not sure if they sort
Oh,
of.
so they're actually going to make that connect over to this,
So yeah,
maybe.
so I don't know if they changed the way that stuff works. In the rules of the universe, because I know at some point, like I said, in the Renner movie, which if you guys go back and watch that one, the different pills do make a difference. So I don't know if they've still continued that or they've kind of downplayed it. But this seems to, in a way, at least make a callback to that in a small sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you remember that, SP? Did you see the Runner film?
I probably didn't. I did remember medication being mentioned in the pilot for Doug, but I don't remember if it was brought up again afterwards. Because even though
Episode 2, when he got
episode
home,
2
that was about it.
yeah, because even though a lot of the other stories were quite interesting, the Doug story kind of wavered a little bit. Compared like the Doug story and then the agent story with the journalist, that was like kind of like the weaker parts. Soo Young's was far more engaging. The past story was far more engaging, and then it kind of did a flip where the past story was like leveled out, and then Doug's story kind of elevated. And when they got that guy Haynes, that's the story that then started to elevate there. So it had a weird off balance flow to it, but yeah, they kind of buried the medication aspect. When the wife got that terrible wig, I mean, it's bad. But aside from that, it's doing the job.
Yeah. Oh god, her wig is so bad. Dude.
I thought we were going to let that one slide.
No.
Listen, I like brunettes, but not when they're fake like that.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, it's worse than a red tint on a brunette, man.
Yeah, that was just so awful. Now, if that's like one of the biggest problems of the show, then we know the show's in a good place. If that's the biggest,
Yeah, actually,
Right?
if that's the one thing I can only look at and be like, "What the hell's that?" I think that's a success in my book.
exactly. But by no means, people, is that are we going to let that slide? Because yeah, it is awful.
It's like they bought a wig for the wrong shaped head, and then they just said, "Well, we're out of money, but at least the show's good, so let's just use it as we go."
It looks like there's a pet on her head.
Oh, man. I really enjoy how it doesn't feel like there's an actual lead to the story. Like everybody kind of shares their second in the light. It
Yes.
almost feels like a 24. Almost kind of.
Brian, yeah, I can go that route because
Just with each like you have a whole bunch of players and each person's playing their bit, and well, like this goes beyond 24 because there's not even a Kiefer.
At first,
But like there's
Yeah.
At first, it felt like Soo Young was that, but
oh yeah, those first 3 episodes, man, I was like, oh man.
But it's like, man, because we were kind of on the fence about how the other characters' arcs were and how like their depth was, but now everything has come into a nice convergence where the depth on just about every single one has picked up, including Michelle Forbes. I think like the whole situation with her basically being forced to do this now because they essentially told her, if you don't do this, you're fucked because we're gonna blackmail you.
Yeah, and she implicated herself by accident in that. Like, she had no idea what the heck was going on when she made that order.
Yeah.
She just wanted to, she thought she could just bury it from that, but it turns out it's bigger. Of course, what did make me laugh a little bit is when she goes into the room and it's just 6 people at a computer against a giant screen, and that's all a Treadstone. I'm like, okay, all right, that's silly.
Yeah.
Come on, show me the doctors that trained these people.
Where they're having that little argument. Or where they're having that little argument at the end before the activator.
If you
Oh yeah.
if you remember though, a lot of times in the Bourne movies, usually like when they cut to the when they cut to that portion, it was always like just a similar room with about 6 people at different computers and a screen.
Yeah, which I always found kind of ridiculous because
so
given how many agents they're supposed to have, there
so
should be
I mean,
more people coordinating it.
so I mean,
Yeah.
essentially it didn't deviate from the canon. I mean, that's how it's always been.
Yeah, I mean, part of me just wants like that type of James Bond scene where you have a whole bunch of like guys and ninjas training with weapons on like a battlefield somewhere while they're walking by just discussing exposition. And I'm
Right.
like, oh,
Oh
there's
yeah.
the future cicada agents, just
Well,
practicing.
you kind of figure with any kind of espionage story, you're gonna get stuff like that. But
Hey,
I don't know. I guess it fits into the whole Treadstone idea of being able to have these agents where they don't have a full operation going at the same time, but it's still like if you've ever been in a control room where the one giant screen is used, there's always more screens than that. It's
Yeah, someone's watching that one. I do want to see if they introduce like another doctor character who like did the mental conditioning for the U.S. side, because the guy that they brought in, he was just one of I guess a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to see more of that. Figure out more of the justification why the CIA decided to expand the program to what they did.
I think that we won't get that until if there's a second season. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Well, this did kind of expand on the whole Treadstone operation, adding in the cicada protocol. But
Yep.
I mean, it's definitely it's a trip. I'll say that much.
but yeah, if you guys could continue this discussion for 1 second, I got just a quick bio again. I'll be right back.
No
Sure.
worries, man. I I don't know. Like I'm really digging the hell out of the show and how I can't really think of anybody in this show that's ever had a true lead, except for I guess what it would be, Forbes.
Michelle
Is she
Forbes.
the
Yeah,
CIA?
yeah,
Yeah,
she was a
she's the
CIA
one
agent.
who I guess she had the lead in the Pegasus film, the Battlestar Galactica or Battlestar Pegasus film.
Yep. And she was a
And
significant character on True Blood, but she wasn't really the lead.
see, I never watched True Blood.
I've only
Like
seen a handful of episodes.
I think I attempted to watch one, but that was one of those. Oh yeah, we'll watch that show, and it leads off into more adult activities. But
Yeah.
it's
2 out of the 3 episodes I saw was just basically an orgy. I'm like, this is a show.
I just remember like a lot of juxtaposition about trying to keep one girl in a building, so something.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what the hell it was about. But like it's like I enjoy getting to see these. I guess not quite ready for lead role people, or
Well, these
where
are
they
like
can make
character
where they
actors
can
getting
yeah
their moment to shine,
character
which is
actors
really
yeah.
Character actors are your best actors. They're the ones that if they do have an opinion on something, it's probably going to be the most rational one because they pay attention to more archetypes throughout media and in
Oh yeah,
the real world.
a lot
Not
more
like your leading
exposure.
man, which are just like, okay, I'm the hero. I'm just going to read all the stuff about heroes, what heroes should do, not understanding the nuance or the experience or the gray areas. So then you get like a guy like Mark Ruffalo who just says stupid stuff all the time.
Right.
Even though his
I
heart is
think
genuinely in the right place, he does say a lot of stupid stuff. I'm like, oh, God, man.
what Doug, like the
Yeah.
actor who plays Doug, watching him in this role where he has unsureties, or I guess more things he's unsure of about himself compared to the role he played in Stargate Universe.
Sorry, yeah.
Have to make sure I keep my get my references correct there. There's so
That's
many
okay.
freaking Stargates. Like
Was-
I love Stargate, but oh my.
Yeah.
Like those last 5 years, they kind of went off and just kind of kept trying to push in different directions. But seeing
Yep.
the way he in universe, he always played a very sure of himself character. He was military, spec ops. Well, I guess he'd be a Falcon if he was Air Force.
Yeah, like
But
he's very by the book type of guy.
yeah, and like he has the couple of things he'll bend on, but he won't break rules, kind of a thing. To go into this kind of a situation where there's so much he's unsure about.
I'm back.
Yeah, that's great. I mean,
It's impressive to watch how he's able to like
he
not
navigates
just
it
be
well.
a stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I see him, and I think of like he played two great comic book characters. One would be Scott Summers Cyclops. The other would be Ted Kord Blue Beetle. Like he just
he'd be a
has that.
perfect Cyclops, man.
Yeah.
Who?
I mean,
Doug.
Doug. Yeah.
Yeah, he would. But I wanted to say, like, so what do you guys think? Where do you guys think things are headed for the finale for episode 10?
Oh Lord.
I think the guy. I think the general is going to get Stiletto 6, but he's going to die before it can be activated, and then Stiletto 6 is going to go missing.
Oh, Sue Young's gonna whack him. You know
Yeah,
that.
Sue Young's going to kill him, and she's going to be recruited by the CIA as part of the asylum agreement. And
Oh yeah.
I don't think they're going to kill off the reporter, but someone is definitely going to. Someone of that core cast is going to die.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah, somebody is.
I kind of see a Sue Young kicking ass. Stiletto 6 goes rogue. It gets lost, like SD brought up, but that's where her involvement with the CIA comes in, is making sure like they won't get her family out of North Korea until she helps recover it. I could see that as a plot line through the next season, but I don't know.
Yep.
With the other characters, it's still crazy far up in the air. It doesn't feel like it feels too early to be having a finale. Like I don't feel like I know enough, or there's not enough going on to be ending it. But like I get it.
Well,
It's just I don't even know.
Well, I think the Doug and Samantha story is starting too late. I mean, there's that cool thing at the beginning, then it has them on the run, and they had that side quest, and now they're doing this new thing where she's on the inside and he's posing as another guy. It seems like a brand new story, and it doesn't feel like it can get resolved in one episode. So this might be the through line for a following season if they get it greenlit, and then I think the agent that was just recently fired by Michelle Forbes, I think he's going to be the one that's killed, but he's going to get his information out. Or if he's not killed, he's going to be activated, and then before he gets his information out.
So, oh god, I can't wait. I got some interesting theories.
Go for it.
All right. So here's my first prediction. I think Sue Young. I agree with you, script doctor. I think she's going to end up killing Shin, right? And at the point that you said, like right as he takes delivery. I think that she's going to then secure the package, and the U.S. is going to have the nuclear material. The thing is, I think that's going to set Sue Young up to be like, if there's a second season, she's definitely going to be working for the CIA. She's going to be a CIA agent, if not, still a Treadstone asset. So there's that. I don't think Sue Young dies. I mean, it's going to be shocking if Sue Young dies, but I don't think she's going to die. I could see that the Doug story. I mean, at least right now, it feels like Samantha's going to die. But with the with Doug, I think that I think again, Doug is probably going to be like one of the focuses. Like he's going to be like the guy in Shooter. Like he's going to be the guy like the rogue agent, especially of next season. And I wouldn't be surprised if next season, if there is next season, that Sue Young won't be the one. It'll be a game of cat and mouse between those two. Now here comes my really interesting theory. I think with Petra and with Tara, I think Petra is going to use her experience in programming beta agents to actually deprogram Tara.
Well, that's a good thought.
Cool.
See,
That's a
like
good idea. Yeah.
I had Petra fingered as the one to be killed.
Yeah, I don't think Petra is going to be killed. I think she knows, like, this bitch just got activated. So I think Petra is going to think on the fly, and I think that Petra is going to deprogram her. So and then I fully believe at that point when Tara gets deprogrammed by Petra, they're gonna go meet back up with the hacker guy.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to try to spill all the information like on the cicada program out on the internet.
Yeah, I completely forgot that they were able to turn Doug off in episode 1.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Petra would know how to do that.
Yeah, so I think that they're going to go that route with Tara, and they're going to meet back up with the hacker guy and try to spill that information out. Meantime, I think Matt Edwards, like you guys said, I think he's going to get nailed by a hit. I think he's just going to be killed, and I think his attempt to get the information out there is going to be unsuccessful. I think the attempt to get the information out there is going to be by the one that is successful is going to be by Petra and Tara.
Yeah, that could happen.
So that's my little interesting take on it. So I could see that happening, and if I'm right, whoa, man, it's just gonna make it a crazy setup for season 2.
Yeah.
And here's hoping that the USA is smart enough to renew it for a second season.
Oh God, I hope they do.
How long did they run Monk? I mean,
Yeah.
Monk was more network accessible. Like this was the USA, because they have all that foul language. I don't think they can get away with it that much on their actual on the actual station.
well, see, that's kind of what we're moving into with all these streaming platforms and individual access points anymore. Like, there's going to be a point where it's not going to matter anymore.
I think our theory about it going to Peacock is pretty likely, since USA is a NBC and Universal owned station. I believe that Treadstone will be one of the things that goes over to Peacock, because it actually would fit a streaming service perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think it's going that way, but I don't think that there's any way that there isn't a season 2, other than the fact that there's a monetary issue, because I think it's a compelling show. So there's plenty of room for storytelling.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, so final thoughts on everything, boys, before we wrap up.
I'm very much looking forward to that final episode.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and let's see if I can't try and catch up on The Expanse. I think it's out now, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think the pilot dropped today, and then the rest of the episodes drop tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Essentially, in probably about 40 minutes, you'll be able to watch the whole darn thing, because it'll be the 13th.
So I'm just checking the ratings of Treadstone right now, and they're averaging 500,000 viewers, or like 5.502 So if you double that, that's about what they actually are because it's streaming and people watch at their own pace.
Yeah.
So its first one was at 0.645, then it dropped down to 534, and then it jumps up and it drops down. But the last 2 episodes had a huge rise, 20 to 25%, and then tonight's
Oh.
episode, or sorry, last Tuesday's episode, was down 20%. But I think given the way that they ended it, the next one's going to have probably its highest ratings
Yeah.
of the season, and they're pretty good. They're better than other shows. It's not a decline, like it's just kind of flatlined out.
Oh my God, you guys!
Yeah, I'm willing to put money on most of the viewing of this show is done streaming.
Yep.
I have to share this, or I have to screen share something really quick.
Go for it.
All right.
So as we're going off here, Jeremy quoted this tweet, and this is just absolutely ridiculous, and we need to talk about this before we end the show. Oh wow, this is an actual list, like apparent listing from somebody. I'm assuming must be a recruiter for Disney.
Can you zoom in a bit more? It's hard to read.
Okay, here's the original.
Okay.
Any non-white, non-male engineering managers looking for a great opportunity. U.S. remote, free Disney passes, room to grow, DMs open.
I don't see anything for asking for qualifications.
Yeah, it's just that's an equal opportunity hire, isn't it?
That is blatant sexism, racism, discrimination. What the?
It's discrimination because you can't discriminate based on
sex or
race.
Yeah,
that's 2 right there.
What in the absolute blue hell is that? I mean,
that's a crime technically.
Yeah. Well,
how like what the hell is Disney thinking? Why would I can't.
Well, it's because Disney caved into all this. There's no women in it bullshit, and everybody complaining about everything. Well, where there's just huge complaints about a lack of female representation, but you can go back and point out all these other characters. They're like, yeah, but it's like, okay, you're just being an ass. You're not aiming for equality here. You're aiming for just straight up trying to paradigm shift the way everybody's going about things.
I'm sorry, but that is like over the top friggin' discrimination. I don't. How is that even remotely professional?
Oh, it's
I don't
not.
see it I don't see it as professional at all because
I'm surprised no one's reported it.
Yeah. If you're going for quotas, hey DJ, if you're going for quotas that's not based on skills, you're not going to get a good product made because the quotas you want is like, okay, I've got this job to do. I need X amount of engineers, X amount of writers, X amount of crew members, gappers, best boys, what have you. Like you need the best of all those people. Like that's where you set your lines. That's where your diversity technically comes into play. It's like diversity of skills, diversity of experience. One thing that I've seen, which has been kind of tragic, especially when I get like, I'm in an office and they say, hey, there's a writer's room down the hall. Do you want to go meet the guys and then just say, introduce yourself and then go back to work? And I'll be like, yeah. So I'll go into a writer's room and there's definitely a checklist appearance of it. But when you talk to them, they all have the same voice. They all have the same mindset. There's no diversity of thought. So you're not really getting any new or fresh ideas, which is why you get shows like The Flash, which put me to sleep. There's nothing going on. They're just clones in a different body.
It's easier to do that though, because then you get a whole bunch of yes men. I mean, it's sad that
yes men gave us the
come to anymore.
I'm not even looking at it like that. I'm just looking at it in a professional manner. This person obviously it is in some capacity working for Disney. I don't know what division, whether it be for the parks, whether it be for the company in general, whether it be for the entertainment side, but it's just like the audacity of that. It's just remotely. I mean, there's it's completely unprofessional. I guess I'm aghast at this right now because I don't think I've ever seen a company put that on social media.
Maybe the guy just wants to get fired and collect his severance.
Yeah, that's what that seems like to me.
I mean,
It's an
It's
easy
a
way out, especially with
golden
some of the changes.
parachute.
you have
Yeah.
a professional recruiter trying to recruit talent that way? You're kidding me, right?
Oh, no joke.
I
No, like there's some weird stuff going on with the parks right now with regards to their employees. Like their union, I think, is trying to get a pay increase based on the profits that Disney has netted in this year, and I think they're asking the employees to trade like one of their breaks in order to get that extra 50 cents on the paycheck.
Yeah.
And then I think there's also a court case that Disney managed to put a pin in as well for their park employees. So there's some weird stuff going on down there.
I mean, that's just this thing. It's not. This isn't remotely okay. I mean, it's just so discriminatory. I mean, because yeah, okay, this is. I'm looking at this
He
guy.
works for Disney Streaming and Animation.
Yeah. Okay. So what in the heck?
Oh,
What in the hell?
Well, his DMs are open, so we should just DM him how he just broke the law.
my God.
And since he's going to be leaving, can I get his job?
Oh, Jesus Christ, guys! I just I'm sorry. Maybe I'm too old school or whatever, but I'm
actually DMing him that right now.
I'm seriously aghast. I'm seriously aghast at this. If you could see, like just the look on my face, I'm dumbfounded at this, like completely.
I'm not even surprised anymore, man. I mean, this has been the plague that has been infecting America for the last 3 years or last 30 years. Honestly, it's instead of getting the best person, you have to make sure you take steps. That way you're not able to be sued, which means hiring an inferior person and putting out a crappy product.
This is what I was taught by my father about business, all right? If you're going to hire an employee, you hire an employee based on their merits and their abilities. You don't hire them based on the color of their skin. You don't hire them based on if they're male or female. You hire them if they could do the damn job.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you dig through that Twitter thread from that Justin fella there?
Let me pull it back up real quick.
I just sent him the DM right now. Hey, Justin, since you violated the EEOC and your job is in question, would you mind sending me contact information to your supervisor so I can take over your job when you're terminated? Much thanks, the script doctor.
Here's I guess this is the follow-up to his original was that not that white males can't do a great job, but we all do better work when we can feel safe, and have more diverse opinions and backgrounds.
So wait, white people are threatening now?
Yeah, apparently white males are threatening because they
has he looked in the mirror?
Feel safe. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
He's just accused himself of being a threatening white male.
He does understand he's white, right? Oh my God, this gets even better.
I'll see if he replies to me. That'd be fun.
Male.
Oh my God, no, they'll probably block you.
Yeah,
that's their
chain block for the script doctor.
That's their go-to. That's their go-to all the time. When you like raise a legitimate issue, Okay, when you raise a legitimate issue or a well thought out argument to their normal those types of people normal rhetoric, they automatically go to the either uh, they call you some sort of thing ending in if
Or phobe.
or phobe,
Oh yeah.
and then they block you. I mean, that's the mo every single time, and it's like I'm just taken aback. I mean, it takes a set of balls to post something like that. And if it's serious, I mean, this guy, for all intents and
Oh,
purposes, is
okay.
seriously
So,
recruiting.
for the people out in the chat there, his handle is at Rothgar, Rothgar. If you want a good laugh, it's pretty much everything I'm finding in this thread is exactly what we're saying right here. EEOC. You realize that is discrimination, or the very definition of discrimination, also legal in the U.S. It's wow. This is fairly impressive. Like,
I mean,
no one's getting vicious with him, but
No,
everyone
there's
is
actually quite
pointing out
polite.
his failures.
like how tone deaf can you be to post something like that? I mean, it's absolutely 100% positive discrimination. It's just, I mean, again, I'm still taken aback by that. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, I'm gonna re-screen share it so that people here can see it again. But yeah, it's just I'm like, yeah, like absolutely, just I'm taken aback. Hold on.
Oh yeah, it's really freaking sad that we can't just hire the best person for a job anymore. And God save them if they have some kind of record too. You know, it's not like they did their time or nothing, people.
Oh, here's a funny one. A guy's asking if the free Disney Plus subscription is included, and Justin's like, "I'm sure that can be negotiated."
Yeah, I saw that too. Like the guy's like he's acting like I'm almost wondering if this is a troll at this point.
If it is, it's not
what?
bad.
Oh, since we're still here, Death Stranding just won best game direction at the Game Awards
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
for Death Stranding.
Yeah. Hooray for Death Stranding, and it's a win for walking simulators everywhere.
It's honestly it's a lot more interesting than you think. Like I know walking simulator, but at this point, like I wish I would have had a chance to play it when it first launched because I'm not aware of how many people are aware of how the game works. But there's interactive pieces. It's another game that's connected to the internet, and everybody as a whole affects the world. So like if someone wants to build a road, there's a road built. Like you don't have to walk anymore. So that's what kind of it's gonna kill the experience for me is seeing all these interaction signs and all this pre-built. Oh crap! What would be the word?
Pre-established infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure. Thanks, SD.
No problem.
Just all this infrastructure that's already there, and it's like, oh well, okay. I get the idea of what he wanted to do. He wanted to make a more friendly game with how multiplayers have gone lately. But yeah, it's definitely something else. But there's going to be an aspect of it that's lost for players that come in later because there's a lot of people that are getting it for Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, see, my pick for game of the year was obviously hi Moira. By the way, hi Moira. My game of the year pick was originally Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
But that was it in my opinion. But I get the thing with Death Stranding because I understand that Death Stranding is a quality game. I bag on it being a walking simulator and a delivery simulator because essentially that's what you're doing. But
Yeah, it's
a
a
cool
giant
thing.
RPG.
There's some cool things to it. I mean, there's like some puzzles and stuff like that. So I get it, but Death Stranding was not a game for me. Period. It was not something I was interested in. Just not my type of thing. You know, at least with Fallen Order, it had a lot of good action, had a good Star Wars story. I liked the lore that it had in it. I liked the addition to the you know the additional character.
Oh yeah.
So I like Kestis and I like the crew and everything else. But I mean, there's a lot of people that'll make the argument for Death Stranding, and I get that.
Well, once you honestly, I would highly suggest. Have you ever played any of the Hideo games or the Kojima games?
Yeah, some of the Metal Gears I played.
Okay. Did you like his stories?
I mean, the stories were pretty good. I mean, I personally, the ones that I enjoyed more, I enjoyed I enjoyed Splinter Cell. I enjoyed more of the Tom Clancy games.
Okay.
I thought
Well,
Splinter Cell was a little more involved and grounded in realism than Metal Gear.
yeah, it's Metal Gear had some bases, but they're like I kind of enjoy the fact that it went off on its own little tangent. But if you get a chance, jump on YouTube and there's people that have compiled all the clips where you can watch it like a movie. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying watch the whole damn thing because that's like 11 hours, but just
Jesus.
give it a 30-minute shot. And if you're not intrigued, then I would say pass. But I actually had to stop watching it because it got to the point where I was like, okay, I have to play this game. And if I'm going to play it in the future, I need to stop. The way there's some of it that's still a secret. But I think I've watched something like 4 or 5 hours worth of gameplay. So that's maybe 2 hours worth of the clips.
Oh wow!
And it's pretty cool. But I think for me, it's just I'm a Mads fan. So anything he's in, I'll always watch.
Yeah, it's one of those things where with gaming, people that enjoy Kojima's work, hey, I can appreciate that. That's cool. Like I said, there were a couple of the Metal Gear games I really enjoyed, but for the most part, like I say, I was always more of a Splinter Cell guy.
Yeah.
Um, things like that. I like sort of like grounded reality based games. When it's something that has to do with like playing an adventure or a tactical game. But yeah, like Death Stranding. Hey, look, it deserves it. It's a gorgeous game. There's some interesting interactions between the characters, things like that. That there is a story to it, but it seemed like so boring to me, and that was my issue with it.
Honestly, the walking aspect of it is nice compared to the anxiety-inducing aspects of it. I think that's where it balances out. And I know for a lot of people, it doesn't make a ton of sense as to why you'd want to play a game where you're just delivering packages. But after a certain point, you have vehicles and you get a motorcycle and I guess a Cybertruck before it was announced.
Yeah,
That's the only way I can describe the vehicles. But yeah, it's the walking aspect of it actually becomes comforting, and it gives you a chance to catch your breath after some of the more heart attack inducing scenes.
see now what I would have thought, like the thing that would have been runaway game of the year had it been released in the window to be nominated for it, would have been Cyberpunk. But I do believe Cyberpunk's going to win it next year. It's going to sweep it all.
Yeah, I worry about Cyberpunk getting the shaft because it's launching so early.
Yeah.
Into next year's awards. Like to me, it's almost weird to hear about Death Stranding already grabbing an award. I'm like, seriously, it's had less than a month.
Yeah.
That's pretty short.
Yeah, but it's not the first time it's happened. It's common if there's a game that comes out that hits big. Which is, again, I was really surprised that it wasn't Jedi Fallen Order, but Death Stranding by far had the more like big buzz around it. So I'm not surprised.
Oh yeah, it was. Honestly, I think it was the first chance you actually get to see Kojima actually tell a story the way he wants to. And the biggest thing I'll give the game is the fact that it's not a buy more in the future game. Like it's all there. He secured sponsorship to pay for the production costs. That's why you see monster cans everywhere involved with it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'd rather go back to a sponsorship, like an ad, like EA was doing back in the early 2000s. I know we gave them hell about it, but
It's better than the
I'd
premium.
rather, yeah, I'd rather get the full freaking game for the $60 you're charging me,
Yeah.
or the hundred some odd dollars for a collector's box. But what everybody was, I just remember the buzz about Death Stranding, like a good solid 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But this is also like the what was it? Silent Hill, the Silent Hill that was supposed to be that everything went bad with Kojima and the developers, and he was like, "Well, you know what? I'm not going to do it." And now you don't have I think it's called the playable demo, Silent Hill TPD or something like that, or maybe it's just called TPD, but you can't even download it anymore. But Norman Reedus was the playable character in that game, and it was Kojima that produced it. So this is kind of the final bring everything together. You finally get the payoff, I guess.
Yeah, Cyberpunk is gonna win it all next year.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be freaking beautiful, man.
I mean, Cyberpunk is just gonna sweep everything next year because I mean, just about every person I know that is a streamer, I know all of my former Twitch compatriots, my streaming friends over there, and a lot of people I know that are just gamers that I talk to on Discord and whatnot. Everybody and their brother, every single person I know is like Cyberpunk. I want to play Cyberpunk. So, and I want to play.
That?
So,
when's that one dropping?
Cyberpunk is. Let me check the latest for the release date here. The initial release date is April 16th of 2020.
Oh, now that gives them the ability to do a tie-in with the Cybertruck, and if they don't do that, they're not thinking.
Yeah, but everybody I know wants to play Cyberpunk, so and I want to play it too because I kind of dig that whole like post-apocalyptic cyberpunk type of deal. I mean, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
SD, I don't know if you're like into that, but I think you would probably like that game.
Maybe. I mean,
it
I
has
don't really play a whole lot,
bro.
What's that?
It has Keanu in it.
Okay. I mean, I dig Keanu Reeves, but like,
Wait. I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you say the launch date for this game is April next year?
April 2020.
Oh wow.
April.
So you're gonna have John Wick 4, Matrix 4, and Cyberpunk. That's definitely gonna be the month of Keanu.
That would be, yeah.
Yeah, he will.
Well, wait. When does Bill and Ted 3 come out?
I'm
it does come
not
out 2020.
sure.
I'm
It'll be the year of Keanu then.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, it's hell. If he gets married, it's gonna be
you didn't know.
Interesting.
Because you usually know when all the big shit's coming out. August 21st, 2020.
Okay, yeah.
Bill and Ted.
So, yeah, okay. So, wait, Matrix 4 is 2020 or 2021?
2020 is what I'm hearing.
That's a really short turnaround production time because they just wrapped Bill and Ted's Face the Music a few weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Let me double check my. I don't want to speak out of my ass here.
No, I mean we're all going by memory right now. I mean I can only open up so many tabs on my
No,
computer before it
Matrix
crashes.
4. Matrix 4 is May 21st, 2021.
Okay.
Oh, okay, then I apologize. I was wrong.
No, that's all right.
But still, that's that's pretty Keanu. That's pretty Keanu heavy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And John Wick is also getting, I think, a TV series too. They're trying to work out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Keanu in it.
Yeah.
Oh, no way, dude. That would be awesome.
So it would
Yeah.
be dope. All right, so everybody, chat. You
Hey,
guys.
Tommy.
Oh man, see Tommy, what's up?
Hey, Tommy. Oh, DJ Odyssey, how you doing, man? Missed
Yeah,
you.
we gave you we gave everybody, man. Wow, we gave you got 46 extra minutes of Battlestar Galactichat tonight. So we definitely went over. And thank you, Tommy, for sharing that. You're so awesome. Um, by the way, guys, obviously this channel isn't monetized. If you do want to help out, that PayPal link that Tommy dropped in my chat, it is for myself and my mom. I take care of her. I'm the sole caregiver. She has had some severe strokes, nearly died last month. We are absolutely crushed under medical debt, and anything that goes to that PayPal goes to the family account and literally puts food on our table, keeps our lights on, and if you can help, that is wonderful. Donations are never expected, but always appreciated. So thank you from the bottom of not only my heart, but my mom's heart, if you do. So much appreciated. And I want to thank everybody in the chat that came out and hung out with us tonight. And we covered like so much different stuff. It was awesome. We will be back next week to definitely bring you the exciting finale to Treadstone. We're going to cover that. And of course, if there's any other BFG stories that break, we'll cover that, and we'll cover the major pop culture stories for next week. And then after next week, again, the show will be on hiatus for a while. I do believe we're going to make some creative changes. So stay tuned for that. I will tweet out if we do wind up changing the name of the show. I will tweet out all the details once we figure them out solid. So, again, thank you very much. And I will go down the panel and we will find out what everybody's doing and let everybody plug their stuff. So, Brian, what do you have going on? And feel free to plug your channel.
All right. I'm over on YouTube at well, my Twitter handle is at DJ Brock Sheridan. YouTube is Brian the Gravedigger. Honestly, I've been pulling back lately. I haven't been putting a lot out. I starting to get some requests for games in through the PayPal and the Patreon. So I've started doing a couple of requests, but other than that, I'm just kind of hanging out and doing my panels here with you, and hang out with Squirrel on Saturday nights over at her little fireside chats. And I don't know, I'm just kind of, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of working on a new direction, I guess would be the best way to say it.
That's cool.
So you've got definitely got some things in the pipeline for the future for your YouTube channel, though, right?
Yes.
All right.
I'm working on stuff. I just haven't quite got it knocked out yet.
So be sure to follow him on Twitter, guys, and he'll keep you in the loop as far as what he's got coming up conceptually when he figures out what the game plan is for his channel. And then, of course, Script Doctor, take it away. I know you've got great stuff, and you always got stuff that you want to bring to the public. So bring it, my friend.
Okay, so hopefully sometime tomorrow, my review for Chapter 5 of The Mandalorian will be done. I retitled it The Assassination of Fennec Shand by the Coward Toro Calican. So, like, the thumbnail's all done. I got all my clips all ready. So I'm going to try and get it all laid down on a track tonight and then have it debut tomorrow afternoon, just in time to watch and then review Chapter 6 with the Bounding guys. I'm going to have a delay on my episode 8 of Batwoman because I'm working on a couple of Star Wars themed stuff that I want to get out around the release of The Rise of Skywalker. So look forward to that. I've got some days coming up during the release of The Rise of Skywalker, so I'll be able to put out some extra content during that weekend, which will be fun. And yeah, so just stay tuned to my channel. Just follow me on Twitter. My YouTube link's there. So Script Doctor PhD. And yeah, I'll leave a comment and I'll see you around.
All right, guys. So thanks again for joining us. And we will be right back at the next Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern. So make sure that you catch the Battlestar Galactichat. And until then, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Let's uplift everyone that we can. And I will talk to you guys soon. Hail everybody in the Fandom Menace. Hail Tommy, best, one of the best mods I know. Hail Sith Lord. Hail TJ Odyssey. And hail the rest of you guys in chat. Mark Lursis, an awesome mod in his own right. And the Ambassador and OG, Star Wars, everybody that stopped by. So love you guys. And I will absolutely talk to you soon. Peace.